What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Terror Table for episode 148. The Terror Table is that horror podcast that you go to every single week to hear three random dudes talk about horror movies. Sometimes we talk about horror video games, not very much. Sometimes we talk about horror comics, even less. We're mainly just horror movie guys and canceling people off the face of the earth. That's what we've become known for at this point.
That's a new development, though.
One episode and we're known for it.
Hey, it's taken off. It's taken off. And just so you all know, Cancellation Corner will be returning today.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. But I'm one of your regular hosts that you hear every single week. My name is Mitch Oliver, and next to me I have...
Kyle Zervinsky.
And then next to him...
Boozy.
And the three of us at the Terror Table, a podcast that is hosted by the Saskatchewan Podcast Network, who's currently sponsored by
Connexus
Credit Union. Thank you. That was very...
You did it.
Bingo.
Wow.
But yeah, you can go to saskpodcast.network.ca and find out about a bunch of other cool podcasts, like our friend Darcy and Jen's podcast, the 3,000 Movies to Die Before You Watch. You can also listen to our friend Sean Broom, who does the Story of You podcast. There's a Regina Pats podcast.
True.
There's a Rebellion podcast. There's everything that you can find that's very provincial.
There's a Saskatoon Rush podcast.
Yes.
Ooh.
We're very happy to be a part of that. It's been a great community so far, so go check us out there. That'll take you to our Podbean. From Podbean, or if you just want to go check us out on other socials, we are active on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So just look up the Terror Table, give us a like or follow. Send us a message. Let us know you're listening. That's always a big... we love seeing that whenever we get people who will just chime in and say, hey, been listening to your show. I'm into it.
Fucks with it.
I'm pretty sure that's what they say. I'm into it.
I'm into it.
But that's
very casual.
Yep.
Today we are going to be we're going to be doing our normal thing where we're going to talk about all the shit that we've been watching lately. But before that, we're going to do our we're going to address the question of the week. After that, we're going to visit the Cancellation Corner, where we're going to take out three new lives, things. They don't need to be people. We're going to just...
We've really opened up this corner to a lot of territory.
It's just that's the place you go.
Territory.
No, it's
I
cool.
hope that doesn't...
I think it gets past.
After that, we're going to talk about what we've been seeing. Then we'll do some horror news. And then after that, we're going to be doing another double feature on the original The Fly from 1958. I'm so bad with dates. Fuck.
Well, actually, last week it was 53.
Yeah, and that's why I think I'm going to be... I think I'm now going to be fucking up thinking about next week. Okay. Anyways, the original The Fly, as well as David Cronenberg's The Fly from 1987. So we're going to talk about both...
86.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. I guess, yeah. And
Years ain't nothing but a number.
Yeah. And every week, whenever we can, we try to give you guys a heads up on what we're doing next week. As we spoke about on last episode, next episode we'll be discussing Boozy's picks, which is going to be the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1956. I got that right because I have it written down.
You did it.
Beautiful.
And then after that, Boozy decided that we're going to be covering Body Snatchers from 1993. So we are not going to be covering the seminal 1978 favorite that everyone knows and loves so well. Boozy has chosen to go with the 93 version.
You know, we always talk about watching things that we've never seen before, and I was like, prime time.
No, dude,
Right.
I love it. I love it. But also just know that gives us an excuse to, once again, at some point, do an episode on the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Because obviously we want to talk about that movie at some point. I don't know if we're going to talk about it at length in the next episode, but...
It's called programming, everyone, you know?
Absolutely.
Structural programming.
I also have a special announcement, and then we can get on with our show. But after that, so after our episode on Invasion of the Body Snatchers, we intend on welcoming a very special guest to the show. He is unlike almost every single one of our guests that we've had on before, aside from one crucial aspect. He is a massive horror fan. We are really excited to welcome former UFC fighter and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Mitch Clark, who will be in Saskatoon on February 15th for Prairie Pro Wrestling at the Cosmo Senior Center.
Fuck yeah, he is.
Cosmo?
Yeah. Yes, and so the Prairie Pro Wrestling is our friend and film festival mate Jeff Drake's wrestling company, and we're super. It's going to be just Boozy and I because Kyle's going to be in Edmonton. You already have a trip planned. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to Edmonton, guys. I was trying to go see Smash Mouth. They canceled.
Definitely not because he's afraid.
What's funny is that because Mitch is from Edmonton, So you guys are gonna be switching spots.
Maybe I can take his life.
Trading places.
Wait. Maybe we can take. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stop
All of a sudden, Kyle's a
I'm going to
wrestler.
stop.
Either way, if you're in
take his life
if
like
you're in
that.
Saskatoon, you can come out, hang out with Boozy and I. We will be there at the event. We're gonna watch Mitch Clark kick some ass. It's gonna be really cool. This is a guy who has actually fought in the UFC. Like you said, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So this guy's lethal. So I don't know, like we don't know if we're going to do an episode talking about a movie he wants to talk about yet, or if we're going to do what we did on the episode with Aaron B. Kuntz, where we just kind of open up the conversation and have, because he's a busy guy, we're busy, we'll do whatever he wants to do.
what if this is like Canada's MK Ultra? Is them just sending him over here to like choke us out?
I was going to say, maybe we'll ask him to choke one of us out. Like, have you guys ever done the pass out game?
Well, there's a good time to start.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, have you ever been choked out?
For fun?
Well,
I've watched people do it.
I've been choked myself.
Like, choke you pass right out?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, because I was in Brazilian.
Kind of sounds hot.
I was in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when I was a young lad, but nowhere near where this guy's
That's cool.
at. But if I'm gonna be choked out by UFC fighter, I want him to be named Mitch as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Choke yourself out. I get it.
But so who knows? We're really excited for that to happen. So tune in then to find out what we're gonna do. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. So with all that being said, today would have been George A. Romero's 80th birthday. So in honor of his passing, in honor of him as well as every other horror hero who has passed on, the three of us are going to talk about horror movies today.
Oh, I thought we were going to like bust out a Ouija board. We're going to try and contact
We're
him.
bringing him back. We're reverse
We're going
canceling
to get
him.
a script from him.
It's time.
All right, you guys want to, should we address the question of the week?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Should we do each of our own picks first and then do listeners, and then you can...
No, I think we should do listeners first, because then it like builds up the excitement for where we're at.
Yeah, but the problem is, both times so far, the listeners have said what I was going to say.
I same for me, so I expanded my list.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think this will be fine. Usually the listeners have some like nice insight
All right, so
too.
Boozy,
so.
what was the question of the week last week?
Okay, so the question of the week was, what remake would you like to see a remake of?
Yes.
We did like a remakeception idea, which I think
Some people didn't understand.
Maybe they didn't get it, or they didn't give a shit.
Honestly, the more I thought about it, the more it is kind of confusing.
That's
super confusing.
That's why I said at the end of the episode is like, really think about this and look into it, because you'd be surprised. Because I was looking at some of the lists, and it also said you could do like short films that ended up like Lights Out technically counted.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay. I guess if you want to go that route, I think that's.
I didn't think of it that way.
No,
but
it
I think
does seem
that's fair.
it does
That's
seem like
fair.
a stretch, but that the list I was looking at
Whatever.
had that.
We're letting you guys have your voice heard.
Yeah.
That's
We're
what
not going to
matters.
condemn anyone too much.
But now that I addressed that, I also have to address the fact that I missed Darcy's email from House of Wax.
Okay, so let's kick off with that.
I thought I would just get that out of the way because he's been stewing on it long enough. Okay, this is from Darcy Meredith, from the 3,000. Is it 3,000?
3,000 movies to die.
Okay,
before
I was
you
trying to.
watch.
I was like, what is it? 30,000?
No, they didn't buy 30,000 DVDs.
Well, they just had a lot of boxes. Yeah. Okay, you already know my thoughts on the remake. It's garbage, but it's also fun to watch. The killer looking like Tommy Wiseau makes it 100 times more enjoyable. I wasn't going to rewatch it, but I did rewatch the Paris Hilton sex tapes. And whether she's being impaled by a metal pole or a flesh pole, I just don't enjoy her at all.
I think Paris has aged well. I need to get that out there.
She looks the exact same.
It's sick,
Well,
though.
that's a compliment, honestly.
Honestly, Paris Hilton, she was signed to Young Money. Anyways. sorry.
Okay. I also hope I'm not the only one making that joke. I gave this flick 13.8 impaled rich white girls. I thought I was going to say Richard like a dick joke.
Oh.
13.8 impaled rich white girls out of a possible 36.7. So that must be
That's still below
Letterboxd. That's
50.
Letterboxd Pro, right?
Yeah.
That's the rating system.
Right.
I give the entertainment
wish,
value
actually.
of watching this with some friends 5 magical tank tops that fit anyone perfectly out of a possible 6.3. There's a lot of math in this one. As for the original, we don't joke about anything Vincent Price has done. 9 out of 10. Your favorite hipster fuck, Darcy.
Thank you, Darcy.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Oh, God. Where am I at here? Okay, this is from Bryson, And he says remakes, and he also says, "Hey terrorists." So maybe there's a chance if we go across the border that we might.
I tried getting that to take off in the first 5 episodes.
Shot that down instantly.
Yeah, it was like, should we call them tea? Because I said it's either terrorist or tea bags, and everyone rejected both. But
you thought the middle ground was teabag.
Yes, but I just kept teabag.
Yeah, okay.
You guys are all still teabags.
Yeah.
You don't say it enough, honestly.
Teabaggers.
Yes.
For remakes of remakes that I would like to see, first off, I'd love to see a new Friday the 13th. I think we all can agree on that one.
Yeah.
Not sure if it'll happen, but I'm always holding hope. I think a 13 Ghosts remake could be fun too if it's given to the right people. I also feel a Psycho remake could work as well, but only in the right people's hands. So he's really, really worried about people's hands.
I really like the idea of 13 Ghosts being... I never even thought of that. And 13 Ghosts is 100% a remake that could be remade and be better.
Like Scooby-Doo and the 13th Ghosts?
Yeah, that's precisely it.
Is that a remake, or is that like an extension of the...
I think actually recently...
Same universe?
I think recently they did remake it last year.
Is that an extension of the Scooby-Doo extended universe?
Well, there's a Scoob coming out this year, so
Yes.
we'll find out then.
I really like Bates Motel, so I feel like a good movie is definitely doable. Bryson sent from iPhone.
Yeah, it's Psycho.
Psycho's a good one, honestly.
A Psycho remake is going to happen eventually, but that's one where it's just I'm always going to be that old piece of shit yelling off my front lawn. Don't touch my Psycho.
Well, it's like it's already had so much damage done to it that I think it's okay at this point.
That Vince Vaughn one was next level, like piece of shit. But Psycho 2 is awesome. Psycho 2, actually, I like Psycho 2, 3, and 4.
Which one is 2 the one where it's from whose perspective, or like who's the lead in that?
Norman.
Yeah,
Anthony Perkins.
Yeah, that one's great.
It's so
Psycho
good.
2 is really good.
Yeah, it is good. Psycho 3 is great too.
I don't think I've seen Psycho 3.
There's Psycho 4. Yeah, I don't know.
Psycho. We need more Gus Van Sant.
Can I get back to it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, you have to remind me this time so I don't fuck up. Darcy did send in an answer for this, but he also sent one in for The Fly. So remind me that I have to come back after for this.
We'll fly back to that.
Yeah. So horror movie remake. Willard. There are so many great garbage horror remakes and early 2000s remakes that need to all be remade and treated better than everyone forgets about Willard. I totally forgot about it.
I always forget about Willard.
The original was an absolute banger, and the remake... He's been listening to us too much. Mitch is all about saying bangers.
Banger alert.
The remake just capitalized on the fact that Crispin Glover made being awkward cool for about 5 minutes.
My lifelong goal is to become a Bang energy drink model.
Hey, I think it...
What? You just take a big sip? Wow, that was a banger.
Banger.
I would love either a dark and very serious grounded movie that just goes way over the top, and I think Lars von Trier should direct it.
Ooh.
I like that.
Interesting.
Wait, which movie?
For Willard.
Yeah, but yeah.
Sure, yeah, I could see that.
Another angle would be an over-the-top cheesy anthology that follows the rat around as he manipulates humans into killing people. Your favorite hipster fuck who sends things from Bell... Oh, God damn it.
No, please
don't. Bell Huawei device over Canada's largest network.
Abort mission.
Darcy.
Abort mission. Cancel.
He knew I was going to read that, too.
Yeah. But thank you for your submission.
All right, and the last one here that I have, I think we have some on Facebook.
Yeah, I got
you got
some on
those?
Facebook,
Okay,
yeah.
so the last one is from John Allison.
Ooh.
Hey guys, you mentioned a few films I've seen and my quick thoughts on them. The Lodge, really like this one, but I think it will be divisive for where the whole story goes. Saint Maud, also really dug this, but it might be more of a drama than a horror some fans would want.
That's what I've heard.
And his answer for the question of the week. For what movie I'd like to see remade again, I'm thinking I'd like to see another attempt at A Tale of Two Sisters and also Shudder.
Ooh, yeah. Shudder is definitely due for a remake of a remake. Is that Joshua Jackson? You seen that movie?
I haven't seen that
Charlie Conway?
Nope, I haven't seen it.
No. Coach Bombay is back for a Disney Plus show. Did you see that?
Sorry, what?
The fucking hot take is this?
They're doing a Mighty Ducks TV show for Disney Plus.
No, they're not.
Yeah, and Emilio Estevez is back.
Fuck that guy.
But
I
agree.
Neither North American remake did much for me, but both original movies are great, and it would be cool to see someone do them justice.
Is there an English remake of Tale of Two Sisters? I don't know. Have you seen Tale of Two Sisters?
No, I haven't seen it.
You will love it. We will do an episode on that.
Oh,
yeah,
you.
That is a Kyle. That is a Kyle joint.
Okay, it sounds like a banger.
It would sound better if you said that through gritted teeth. You'll love it.
That's everything you got there?
Yeah.
All right. Courtney Sperling, my girlfriend, says, instead, can I take back both Black Christmas remakes?
I had to super like that one.
Wow.
Diego Juarez, former host of the show, says, remake Bones, but with Vince Staples instead of Snoop Dogg. And then I don't know if any... Do you guys listen to Vince Staples?
In Northside, yep.
Okay, so Northside Bone Beach, Northside Bone Beach. That's what he's meaning. I could say a lot.
I feel like
I'll
such
say
a fucking boomer right now.
Northside Bone Beach, Northside Bone... I can't even do it. I love Vince Staples, so I'm with you, Diego.
Like your Midwestern accent.
Even though Bones is
North
not...
side!
Northside.
See, here's where we're at, where Bones isn't a remake. So,
right, okay,
so like
I
think
see.
I think some people didn't understand that.
Just straight remakes were okay.
Dwight said remake of a remake, too many levels of remake. Dwight also pointed out that we didn't read his message on last week's episode. Totally did. I read them. So
okay.
I think
I was like, do I have to check the email again?
No, I think he might have missed it. But yeah, we definitely.
Some of us are panicking. Right
Uno
now.
reverse card, fuck you.
just so everyone knows, you do have a better chance. You have an almost infinitely better chance of having your stuff read on air if you mail us right to the terrortable@gmail.com. If it's on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, there's a chance this can be missed, but I usually try my best to cover that side of things. But Boozy is very
we
top.
did say before that we'd prefer one or the other, and it just that didn't work.
No,
so
right.
I prefer actually when Mitch just posts it, because
Yeah.
then it's much easier that way.
How do we reach these kids? Okay, so Ethan Victor Mason, who is actually a homeboy in my class, he's in the school. He's been listening to us. He chose.
I like his name.
Yeah.
Ethan, you would love Ethan. He's a fucking great guy. But
He sounds like a duke.
Ethan chose Ticks, which I do not think is a remake, but we did talk about that on the show.
Respect,
We fucking
yes.
love that movie. It's great. Scott Lehman, who's a part of the Rank and Review fam, says maybe it's time again to make another attempt to make a scary Children of the Corn. There's got to be a scary theatrical movie in that story.
I totally agree with that.
I think everybody
I think
agrees.
so, yeah.
I've met one guy,
been a
and
while.
actually he's a homie who listens to the show, Hunter. He's traveling the world right now. I think he's in Thailand, not the world, but he's a huge horror fan.
You
Great
just made
dude.
it sound like he's like Predator.
No,
Hunter
yeah.
is traveling the world.
His name's Hunter,
Watch
but
out.
he has a Children of the Corn half sleeve.
Whoa,
and I'm like,
fuck
man,
yeah.
I didn't know anyone who liked that movie as much. Who liked it to
I
that point.
love people who get obscure horror movie tattoos, and that's
Yeah.
not even like a super obscure movie, but
No,
like,
but it's one that doesn't get a lot of love.
Yeah, but, like,
everyone
I'm
knows.
kind of surprised that hasn't been remade in the past like 15, 20 years. Honestly.
I think it has, but it's been all like straight to DVD sequels and shit.
Yeah. I'm not a corn.
Oh,
expert.
actually, yeah, no, they did remake it like 5 years ago, and no one saw it.
Oh,
I don't know. I agree though. Children of the Corn.
Okay.
Children of the Corn are right.
it's
for
in the right
remake.
hands.
you sound so. It's not even like I'm gonna go check that out.
But
it's like, oh,
it has to. We have
If
to
Mitch
wait.
said no one watch it, I won't watch it.
We have to wait until the new metal resurgence comes back to us because everything is a circle,
Recycled,
and
yeah.
then we can have Corn doing Children of the Corn.
But we're like so far behind though, because I feel like right now we're at Led Zeppelin ripoff right now.
Yeah, but that's where we got. What's their
Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah,
Greta, show
We'll
me
get
feet
there.
pics.
Honestly, the new Code Orange kids basically sounds like corn. So,
I have zero idea who that is.
anyways,
but I'll
or
listen.
Code Orange, not kids. Sorry.
Oh, Code Orange. Yeah,
Yeah.
Code Orange is sick. Though. I like Code Orange. Okay, do you guys want to talk about our? Oh wait, I'll read.
There's more, isn't
fucking
there?
Instagram. Yeah, that was all on Facebook. Jesus.
So thank you to everyone who
Thank you
commented
very
on
much.
Facebook.
Thank you on Facebook.
Absolutely. We also have Lana Banana, our main bitch. She says, "Lol, The Wicker Man and Flatliners, both very big missed opportunities there."
Oh.
Roy
She got one of the ones I chose right there, Flatliners, and I want to talk about that after.
and I chose the other. that's
No
that's my
way.
only pick is The Wicker Man. Like, and so I'm
Fair.
right there with you, Lana. So yeah, and then Roy Robin says the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari have Rob Zombie directed as he's a huge fan. I don't think Roy listens to us very much.
Interesting.
No, actually, that's not true. We have lots of people who are fans
Is
of
it
Rob Zombie.
Caligari?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you think?
I was like, is it Caligula?
No, that's a different fucking movie.
Sure, let's remake Caligula.
But
Let's
it's
get
like,
going.
get
Let's
Rob-
remake Solo while we're at it.
He said get Rob Zombie to direct Salo.
Now we're talking. No, that's got to be Lars.
He said have Rob Zombie directed as he's a huge fan. Then he doubled down and said or Tim Burton.
Okay.
So I would love to see Tim Burton make it.
I'm trying to
a
make the
watchable
correlation
movie.
of where those two would like kind of meet in the middle, and it's. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just I can't see it.
Which one, Tim Burton or Rob
No,
Zombie?
like okay, so if you put the movie in the middle and you have those two things both going towards it,
Who comes out winning?
yeah, where does
I'll
it go?
I'll help you. think about John Carpenter making Halloween.
Okay.
And then now think about Rob Zombie making Halloween. Think about how gigantically different.
Tim Burton it is.
Tim Burton.
Call Tim up.
All right, Wheat Chief, our boy Jeff says The Howling with a massive budget behind it.
Yeah.
Which I'm totally down for.
We kind of talked about.
Yeah.
No, we talked about that a couple episodes
Yeah, I
ago,
think
where I
we
said
did,
I wanted like a serial killery, like maniac
right.
kind of vibe to it.
Absolutely. Story of You podcast, shout out Sean Broom, says, I'd love to see a prequel to The Thing, but instead of amazing practical effects, they replaced them all with awful CGI. ... Oh? So,
Whoa,
yeah.
somebody's a little on the nose about that one.
Yeah, I don't
also,
know.
I just want to say quickly, I don't know if I mentioned it before. Thank you for saying Merry Christmas to me, Sean. That was really
Sean's
nice
the
of you.
nicest guy.
Yeah.
He's such a
I don't know how
fucking
he got
awesome
my
guy.
number, but thank you.
He's a great dude. All right, boys, let's keep this on the roll. Let's talk about what we would like to see, what remake we would like to see
What
remade.
remake
So I
of
guess
a remake?
I'll start off because we both already,
Said one.
The Wicker Man.
That's the only one you have.
But I can think of a couple more if you want, but I was trying to double down on this. Is that, I don't know, I just think...
I want you to pitch, give me a quick pitch on it.
The Wicker Man is a movie that I love that original so much after watching it for the show. Like, I discovered it late, and I loved it so much, and I think it's a beautiful movie, and I think that there is a way to remake it, to modernize it, and I think the problem is, though, honestly, if you would have asked me 2 years ago, who would you like to see remake The Wicker Man, I probably would have said Ari Aster, and he essentially did.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
and that's the thing
enough.
is, I've been meaning to because also, I need to reiterate this one more time. It is a joke all the time when the Terror Table shits on Midsommar, because it's obviously not a bad movie. Like, it's not bad, but we talk about it like, I don't know. I like Midsommar.
It's a fantastic 3.5.
Yeah. I talk about it like a disappointing child. Where I'm like, I love you, but at the same time,
there's so many things I love about it, so many things I don't like about it. But in there is huge inspiration for The Wicker Man, and that is just such an awesome story. And like, as much as I do love the Nicolas Cage version, it's the only movie that I made a fan cut of The Wicker Man, and all I did was I watched the whole movie and I took out all the good parts and spliced them all together, and it came out to 1 minute and 5 seconds, and it's the best 1 minute and 5 seconds ever. But it's not The Wicker Man.
Kyle honestly looks more intrigued than shocked. Do you have a copy of that?
I do have it. It's on my
drive?
phone. Yeah.
I guess. Okay, well then, do you think it's just going to take some time for that remake to ever happen? Do you think it's like Midsommar's
too close to it for now?
That's fair.
But oh man, I would love. I think that's for example, like there's lots of things you can do in Wicker Man to change it up from the original story and make it your own, which Ari Aster did.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying that Midsommar's a direct
there's a
rip-off.
lot of
There's just a
similarities.
lot of similarities, but
that I think fans of Wicker Man wouldn't ignore.
Especially with The Wicker Man, that one's an easy one that you could kind of set it in any time because you're basically transporting your characters to a pagan time, right?
Yeah.
So the whole idea of like there's no cell phones, you don't have to worry about that for a story thing because they don't work or they take them, whatever.
Yeah, even if you want to, you could throw in cell phones to still make it interesting. But
it makes it a lot like I always think of the idea of the Wicker Man, and I guess Midsummer kind of did the same thing. Is that feeling of like isolation with people that probably have like really nefarious intentions?
Totally.
So
that can apply to really any time period, anything. Yeah, for sure.
because you can take that stuff away.
The things
people
that
always suck.
The things that I would love to see like revisited with The Wicker Man is how much I love the music in The Wicker Man, like the singing and the score and everything like that. I love that. And there, like, I'm not going to spoil it right now for if someone hasn't seen it and they haven't listened to that episode. There's no way for that ending to not be terrifying. True. The ending of The Wicker Man is so fucking gnarly and awesome, and I just think that, like, and also they kind of did in Midsommar a little bit, but differently. I don't know. I would like to see it have a better treatment than what it received. There's a lot. Like this could
you just loopholed yourself.
What?
You're like, I'm not going to give away the end of The Wicker Man, but it's basically it's like, oh,
that's why you come to the Terror Table, folks. But no, there's so many. Like, also, like we said last week, I'd love to see another House of Wax remake. Like a more.
We all said that.
Yeah, like that I'd be into. There's the obvious one that I know Boozy's going to bring up, and I can't wait for it to just die. I just want to stop talking about it. But we'll see. I don't know if you actually might not say it, but
okay.
I'm going to go with that for now because, boys, we got lots to talk about today.
Do you guys want to know mine?
Yes,
of course I do.
Okay, so I was thinking about this pretty hard, and I was thinking about remakes in general, and kind of like the remakes that are pretty fresh in my mind are always the ones from like the early 2000s because those are the ones that I didn't necessarily grow up with, but were really in like my brain.
They were in that age where you were like, taking it in more.
Absolutely. And this is actually late 2000s, but I think we should see a remake of My Bloody Valentine 3D.
I was gonna go there, and I like that movie, but like I agree.
So I've seen the original as well.
So good.
It's fantastic. The remake
It's stupid as hell, and it's dumb, and it's bad.
I remember. I think
You
I
hated it.
hated it.
You and
yeah.
Diego hated it.
I saw it in the theater actually when it
I did
came
too.
out in 3D.
I hated it. It's funny. I saw it when I saw it in theater, hated it, watched
Yeah.
it for the podcast, loved it.
I remember thinking it was actually kind of fun watching the
Yeah.
theater. That was definitely a film where I just kind of accepted it for what it was. It's not a movie I haven't gone back to since then, but I still remember what it's about. And doing some research for this, I thought about it some more. And I think that like just like the setting of like this small like mining town and like even just like set it around Valentine's Day kind of just checks out
It's
for
so
like
cool.
for like a film that is due for a remake. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Like I think it also could fall easily into that trap of being closely related to a holiday that doesn't necessarily need a horror series, and then maybe it just doesn't get the love and attention it deserves.
Yeah.
Are you talking about St. Patrick's Day, right?
Yes,
Leprechaun?
that's what I'm saying though. You know what I mean? Like Halloween obviously makes so much sense. Christmas maybe to a degree, but like
Christmas is the best out of all of them, honestly.
But you know what I mean? Like these like sub holidays that just kind
There's
of get
no
thrown.
Easter.
Yeah.
I think like what do we have for Easter? There's a segment in holidays.
Holidays, yeah.
So what would you say about Valentine's Day then?
My Bloody Valentine is fucking cream of the crop.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
I
And
love that
It's also
movie.
February, so I was like, well, I might as
Whoa,
well.
whoa, whoa! What about Valentine?
Don't.
I fucking love that movie.
I haven't seen Valentine.
Oh man, it's
Oh.
it's so bad,
It's
but you'll
so
love
good.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Like,
I'll peep game.
we
and-
we own the Scream Factory version. So I pre-ordered the My Bloody Valentine Scream Factory. So that's
we're
what Courtney
due.
and I.
We're due for My Bloody Valentine remake, I think. Maybe specifically a remake of the 2009 one, just
No,
to spice
don't.
things up.
You'd be the best person to pitch movies. We're just gonna spice it up
Yeah.
a little bit.
I'll peep game.
Add a pinch of fun.
Yeah, everything's a Powerpuff Girl in my world.
Okay, you guys ready? I got a couple, and I can kind of like speed round them off because I want to kind of group some of them together. So first off, have you guys seen The Crazies? Either the original or the remake?
I think the remake's better.
I've
And
seen-
No, that's a fine
sacrilegious.
opinion. That's a fine opinion.
I-
I've
it's
only
a-
seen the remake. I've never seen the
Okay,
original.
so take that idea of how more of the remake, how that goes. I would love to see that done, but with either Cabin Fever or The Blob, because I think there is a very interesting way to do that take of like the military drama mixed with the small town fear. That's why I kind of wanted to lump those together. I know Cabin Fever just got remade for no particular reason, but I still think at the core that's a very fun story.
Yeah, it is. But I think you're onto something with the Blob, for sure.
Because like I
That's
love the Blob.
The 80s Blob, even the original Blob, both of them are great.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're not like untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
in
No,
my
that's
opinion.
right. Yeah, I think it's also a lot more fun when films that haven't been remade in a while get remade. Like we're getting burnt out already on some of these. You don't need
Yeah.
to remake.
Like Saw.
Yeah,
Like,
like-
what?
How many times do we have to restart or reboot it?
Yeah.
So okay.
Bring back Kevin Dillon, though. That's all I'm saying. Johnny
Okay,
Drama.
My next two I'm gonna put together because I just want more movies like Maniac. So I have two options here. So When a Stranger Calls, because I actually like the remake.
Yeah, you're
I
super...
actually like that remake.
No,
too.
dude, you guys
That's
are
pretty good.
fucked. I
Yeah.
just
Okay.
watched that over Christmas.
I love
It's
that
terrible.
movie.
It has,
That movie and
so
also The Hitcher. I think
The Hitcher's
those two.
great.
I think those two
Never seen
could
The Hitcher.
really do a decent
I
revamping.
was thinking about that because I haven't seen the Hitcher remake in a long time, but I remember not hating it. But the original Hitcher is so fucking good. So good.
with
Rutger Hauer.
yeah.
Yeah, he's so good in that. And then the remake was Ned Stark.
It was 009. Where's it 008? It was 008
Is
from
it-
Goldeneye. Don't you remember?
Ned Stark?
Like
It was Ned
It's the same
Stark.
guy. Yes, it's the same
Oh,
guy.
okay.
what's his name right now? I can't think of it.
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. There
It's
we go.
weird that you guys didn't
I was
pick up on
gonna
my
say Mr.
007
Bean.
references.
Yeah, no.
I don't know much about 007 to be
90s
honest.
kids, where are you at?
Yeah.
Die Another Day.
Okay,
whatever.
and my two last ones are recent remakes that just didn't hit the nail on the head. So Pet Sematary, I think there's still a great story in there, and I think there's a good. I'm not saying I hated the newest one, but I
Yeah,
still
I'm with
think
you.
there's more of a story with a Wendigo that you could go with that I wish they would have hit on, because they kind of like.
There's more a
I
Pet
think so-
Cemetery story they could have gone with.
I also think like movies of that like ilk or whatever you want to call it are better to be remade. Like,
Yeah.
I think when I think of Pet Sematary, I kind of think of films like The Blob that are well known but not that well known and maybe deserve a remake.
They're on that like pedestal below, like you got like your
Yeah.
aliens and that sort of shit, and your Halloweens,
Like-
all your big.
Here's the thing, though, is that it is a monumental book and movie series. So like those movies blew up huge for everyone in the world knows what that is. Yeah. Everyone should have known about Pet Sematary, and I feel like it came out and then it
Just
died with a whimper.
It doesn't have that character to build around. You don't have your Pennywise.
That's a good point. I
No,
think
And
that's
they
true.
They didn't push Church enough, and Church isn't that
Obviously,
like,
Church isn't as interesting as Pennywise, but it's
Exactly.
like I just personally think, because as someone who I think Pet Sematary is one of Stephen King's best books.
Yep.
So like it should have. I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you.
And the other one I had to kind of go on that note is Flatliners.
I thought it was Black Christmas, so thank fuck.
No, I
We've said
just
enough.
leave it alone.
Yeah, we've said
No,
enough.
but like I think Flatliners is such a cool idea, and the last remake, which I did watch, was not great at all.
never
I
did
didn't
say-
even
never
attempt
saw
it.
it,
I didn't even
It
attempt it,
was
man.
not. They just threw money at it.
It was
All
a
these-
0%.
That's too bad.
It got
Ellen
a zero.
Page,
It got a
too.
0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
If Ellen Page is in something, I'll always check it out.
I love Ellen Page.
I got respect.
No,
for
but
her.
like they literally threw money at a cast and then did nothing with the actual movie.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
And it's a cool concept.
big.
One of the coolest concepts, honestly.
You a big
Are you-
Whip It fan or what?
Actually, I don't fucking whip it. To be honest,
I don't fucking Whip It either.
That's
like
like-
the dog.
like the
Drew
drugs.
Barry,
Like,
Drew
should we
Barry,
go do some
Drew
whippets in the
Barrymore
corner?
directed Whip It with Ellen Page. It's about
Yeah.
roller derby girls.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. I didn't hate
It's
Whip It.
okay. That's all
Hard Candy. Hard Candy's
Fuck.
the Ellen Page.
I
fucking-
love Hard Candy.
You've seen Hard Candy.
No.
Ghost
I'm
to
lending
my
it to you tonight.
Ghost to My Computer, shot in Saskatoon. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Move
got
on.
it. I got it.
All right. Everybody. Cancellation corner.
Welcome.
We are here.
Wow. We really need someone to make a song for that because
For cancellation.
Welcome to the corner. Listen up, brothers. K-Dog with Boozy and Mitch.
All right, who's fucking dying this week, guys? So we're
Who's
getting
fucking dying.
we're getting rid
This
of
corner's changing
so
slowly.
everyone to recap. If you didn't listen to the last episode, Kyle has introduced a new segment of the
Yes.
show known as the cancellation corner. You called it the cancellation of the week.
Yes,
Sorry.
actually, I called the cancellation of the week, and then at the end, I think I called it the cancellation.
I like
corner.
cancellation
So there
corner.
was some branding flaws, but I think we can now
Yeah, we're working on
officially
it. Yeah.
settle
that
the
was
score,
a pilot.
and we can now call it cancellation corner
We
season
have,
1.
Yeah, we have reached the cancellation corner. So this is a time where last week, for example, for a recap, Kyle canceled Chad Michael Murray, Boozy canceled Robert Downey Jr., and I canceled Drake. But we didn't.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I fucked up the first round.
No.
But the thing is, in cancellation corner, we're not just getting rid of people. We can get rid of things. We can get rid of.
Yes. Yeah.
We can get rid of
Ideas.
anything. We can get rid of anything. This is just our way of getting rid. This is us sucking in all of the negative and blowing it out
Yeah.
and turning it into a positive.
This
And
is
by
like-
doing that, we mean get the fuck out of here, Chad Michael Murray.
This is like our bugs day, you know?
Yes. But let's get rid of some shit. Who wants to go first?
But you know what? Let's let Kyle do it.
Yeah,
I'll
Kyle.
go first. I need to be honest in here to everyone out
Are
there,
you
our
saying
listeners.
you weren't honest before?
I've always been honest, but I'm just being extra honest.
Extra
now.
okay.
Yeah. EH. I just feel like my cancellation this week wasn't as strong as Chad Michael Murray, because last week it was easy to pick someone. I was like,
From the movies. Because
From the movie.
you're not
This-
going to cancel Jeff Goldblum.
exactly,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to cancel Vincent Price. Like
Gina Davis.
So that was a difficult task, because that was kind of my goal, was to attempt to cancel someone from the main feature. Anyhow,
Just went for the easy layup.
There was
huh?
someone I
Yeah,
could have canceled from. We'll talk about when we get there, but there's someone I could have canceled from the new Fly, or
Fair
like
enough.
the old newer.
Yeah.
But it's not sweet enough.
No, I'm with you. I probably think of maybe the same person. So actually I have two. One, again, is a company. This one is Disney. I just want to cancel Disney.
Why?
Get them the fuck out of there.
You didn't even start small, dude.
Yeah, dude,
Hey,
you're
whatever,
so
you,
good.
whatever you say next is gonna be lower down the tier
Yeah.
than canceling
That's okay.
fucking Disney.
That's okay.
Let's think
No,
about this for a
I'm
second.
thinking about it. I've thought about it. I'm trying to get rid of Disney. Boys.
Kyle,
Yep.
out of two things that you can get rid of out of this entire world so far, you have chosen Chad Michael Murray and Disney. Like, what the fuck
That's
is
correct.
wrong with you?
Hear me out. I'm just getting tired of Disney. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
I think
over
we-
it.
I think we all are, kind of.
So that's
You
it.
can't, it's too early for you to be angry about Disney.
Yeah.
Because they've just started that
Yeah.
tidal wave of
Oh boy, are you
conquest.
you're in for a world
and
of
yeah,
misery.
and you're in the fucking way.
Boozy, whose corner is this?
Whoa.
I'm just saying right now, Disney, it's time to stop.
Okay.
Let's just take it easy. Disney
For
Plus,
like
what
how-
a waste of my goddamn money. I swear to God.
It is, because, man, honestly, the only way it's worth stuff is if you're 12.
Well, first off, I watched Gravity Falls. That was cool, but like,
But no, here's the thing.
Not
also,
that cool.
The coolest thing about it was over Christmas holidays when we had time off. Courtney and I got like super stoned and watched a bunch of. We watched a bunch of old Disney movies.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, like, so that was great. Like, man, Pocahontas is so good. Fuck it. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. Pocahontas is actually pretty good. It's way better than people give it
Why are you
credit
getting
for.
so aggressive?
Because you
Like,
both fucking gave me the eyes.
No,
where
we
you're
were-
like,
we
you're
were
back.
laughing.
out of
You
all
guys-
the Disney movies,
You
it's
guys are
pretty
backing
funny.
up Pocahontas right now? No, but like Peter Pan's
Honestly,
the one.
Little Mermaid fucking
Little Mermaid.
stinks.
Little Mermaid is sick. Little Mermaid is sick. But Peter Pan is the one that ages the worst out of all the ones I
Oh,
watched.
yeah, that one seems creepy.
That's for a different day.
Anyway, actually, that was my company. I have one more person.
Okay,
I'm so
go
sorry.
for it.
The other person is someone who I actively hate this actor, and a lot of people know. I want to cancel Lucas Hedges.
Oh,
I don't fuck with Lucas Hedges. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I think his acting makes me think otherwise.
man. He was good. He's the guy from Boy Erased.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are some like we're going through some. Lucas Hedges is a terrible choice for a horror podcast.
Well,
but I'll fuck with you.
I
on
mean,
it.
I was trying to think of someone else, man. And as far as I'm
No.
concerned, his acting's horrific. So that's all I got to
You
get
think
at.
he's that bad? I've only seen
No.
him. I saw him in Boy Erased and something else.
He's in Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
in Lady Bird. He's
Lady Bird, yeah.
Mid 90s. I don't know. I just don't fucking like Lucas Hedges. I'm
right.
sorry, Luke.
Fuck him. Get out of
I
here.
just think you need to maybe take some time off just because your dad's rich and you got to be Dan in real life. You start an acting career. I'm over it.
fuck off.
Fuck Mr. Hedges.
Wow.
Everyone, fuck.
You go work
fuck
for
Lucas
Disney.
Hedges. All right, who's going next?
I
I'm
guess I
sorry,
can go.
everyone.
I don't know if this is something that anyone gives a shit about, but I'm just gonna cancel Dennis Quaid.
Oh man,
Whoa.
Courtney would lose her mind if she was in here. Dennis Quaid?
I do not like Dennis Quaid.
I
like
think it's
Dennis
fine.
Quaid.
I think
No,
that's a
man.
decent
I-
cancellation.
He's got like mean stepdad vibes.
Dude,
Yep.
you
Yep.
gotta watch The Intruder, the Dennis Quaid movie.
I heard
from
it was
last-
bad.
It's so bad, but it's so good.
Yours,
Like,
mine, and ours, whatever that movie's called.
oh
that,
man,
That
Dude,
Cheaper by the Dozen.
The Rookie?
Eh.
Cheaper by the
okay.
dozen.
Yeah,
Eh.
I'm canceling. He's out of here.
I think it's fair.
Oh
yeah.
my God, I
I
think
was
it's
actually
fair.
gonna say John Cusack, but I'll stick
No,
with Dennis Quaid.
don't you dare! Don't do that.
Really?
Dennis,
You guys are taking a stand on.
I love John
I
Cusack.
have to really think about that.
John
one.
Cusack, but the thing is, John Cusack hasn't been great in a long time.
That's the issue. I
al-
agree.
I also
agree.
had another option was gonna be Edward Norton.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Edward Norton is a dick.
Yeah, he's an incredible actor, though.
What has he done lately?
We're just
that's
trying
amazing?
to take down all of the Avengers.
most
Death to Smoochie.
Most of Edward Norton's career was from the 90s, and then everyone realized what a fucking prick he is.
He
and
is a
he's
prick.
just-
But dude, I rewatched American History X
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago, and he's so good in that movie.
I know and I used to
But
love him.
he is an asshole.
I
He's
used
an
to love him,
asshole.
and then it's just more and more time went, and it's like, oh, you realize you're famous.
Yeah, no, it definitely got to his head, and he knows how good he is. Like, Birdman.
He's great in Birdman.
Birdman is a great movie.
Like at least I can
scared.
give
What was that all about?
I can give Christian Bale
I'm
a
trying to look what he's been in
or give him a
recently.
pass for being an asshole because I like so many of his movies.
Christian Bale's not even that big of an asshole. Like, he yells at people on set, but who doesn't really?
But,
you know?
but like he has enough of a back catalog that I will always enjoy that he gets
man,
a
but
pass.
Edward Norton did Fight Club and American History X, and
He voiced Sammy the Bagel in Sausage Party.
those are enough for me. those are two perfect, flawless movies, and he's also the reason why both those movies are as good as they are. But fuck
I'm
it.
just gonna stick with Dennis Quaid.
He was in The Dictator
Okay,
as
well,
himself.
if you guys are choosing two, I'm gonna choose two. I was gonna save one for next week, but I'm gonna start one off with.
I chose Disney. For
I was
the
out for
record.
blood.
Everyone's got to be quiet here for a second.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm canceling.
Uh-oh.
I hate this song.
Is this Disturbed?
Why are we doing this?
Get the fuck out of here, Paralyzer by Finger
Yes.
11.
Yes.
I hate
I
that.
thought this was an
song?
intro for a person,
Oh,
but I'm
man,
like,
no, I fucking hate that song.
So just the song, not Finger 11?
Fuck Finger 11. I'm gonna get rid of
Whoa.
both.
Understood.
I like how as soon as he started playing it, I'm like, I fucking hate this
Dude,
song.
Paralyzer. Now listen to this.
I wonder if our American listener, did they get the Finger Eleven crossover?
I think they did. Specifically these two songs.
I feel like Finger Eleven was like a big Canadian thing.
What about the Butt Monkeys? Weren't they called like the Intergalactic Butt Monkeys?
Purple Butt Monkeys.
Purple Butt Monkeys.
I'm freaking out right now.
Stop playing it.
I'm freaking out. I need them to hear the voice.
No.
Why didn't you? I got this. Wait.
Restless tonight, 'cause I wasted the light between both these times.
I like how we know all the lyrics. We know all the lyrics.
This was played at like church services.
So let me get this straight.
Let me get this straight.
Hate Finger 11, and I think those are two of the worst songs ever made in the history of music.
You've really opened up a can of worms here.
Yeah, I didn't know we could cancel bands.
Dude, I fucking hate.
I almost feel bad for Disney.
Man, I like that song came on like my our teacher. I was in school today, and our teacher put on the radio for us to like study to, and right at the beginning. And I was just like seeing red, and I was like, I fucking hate this song so much.
The worst part about that song is I know all the words because I've heard it so many times, and I fucking hate it still.
Yeah,
I'm paralyzed in anger.
That's a good choice.
So bad. So fuck both those songs. Fuck that band. I know a couple people who are actually like, you know, for example, Boozy's you're a defender of Seether.
Yep.
That's for a different day. But like, I have a friend who's like a hardcore Finger 11 fan, and he's like, no, they used to be super good and everything. I'm like, you can't ignore Paralyzer.
That's true.
And so, like when you make a song that fucking bad, and that is just,
it's like Eminem.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started.
At this point,
are we canceling Eminem?
Another time.
Yeah, he's got to go later. But no, I fucking hate those songs.
Collectively,
if we're each throwing into, I'm going to throw one last one. It was gonna be my pick for next week, but I'm canceling specifically Ben Affleck's back tattoo.
Whoa!
Have you guys seen Ben Affleck's back tattoo?
I didn't know he's opening so many cans of worms,
dude. I'm
coming for Aaron Carter's face tattoo after.
Dude,
be nice to Aaron. He's been through a lot.
He's a liar.
Have you seen
tweets don't lie?
Have you seen Ben Affleck's back tattoo?
No,
it's terrible.
I hope,
dude, he's got a phoenix on his back. It's a full back.
Why is it so poorly done?
And it's huge. It's literally his entire back. He
okay.
got that after J-Lo broke up with him.
I was gonna say,
Jennifer Aniston broke up for this. Oh, sorry.
I know this was an audio.
J-Lo.
I know this is an audio platform.
Jennifer Garner.
Gardner broke up with him because of that too. Sorry, Boozy.
This is an audio format, so people can't see what we're talking. Like, you need to Google this. Pause it, Google this, because it looks like a kid drawing on but they drew outside the lines.
It's a coloring book. It's fucking terrible.
It's like it bled out everywhere.
But here's the thing.
It also looks like a tattoo a kid would want to get.
Yes, totally. I like the thing is though, and I know I'll take heat for it. I like Ben Affleck as an actor. I think he's a good actor. I loved him as Batman. I hate the movies. I hate the movies he's in.
Man,
but I think he's a good Batman. The Town's great.
Good.
Gone Baby Gone is great. Mallrats. He's in some great movies. But we're 45 minutes into the episode and we haven't talked about horror movies, so let's get going here.
Okay.
Cancellation Corner
is
complete.
Adjourned.
For this week.
Yeah.
The corner is closed.
All right. What have you guys seen this week? Who wants to lead off?
I'll go first because I have not seen anything. Bam, your turn.
Holy moly. Okay. I saw one thing this week. Actually, I watched it this morning.
How was it? What
was it?
It
was splendid. I watched One Cut of the Dead.
Hell yeah. Episode that we did with John Allison and Jeff Drake.
Yeah, it was... it's a movie I've been looking forward to watching for a while, actually. I bought the DVD off Amazon like a month ago or so because I've been hearing so many good things about it.
Interesting DVD flex.
Well, I actually couldn't find anywhere else.
Couldn't find a Blu-ray, huh?
You bought the DVD? Did your parents lose their jobs?
There was no Blu-ray available, and I thought I couldn't find it anywhere at the time, and I actually remember buying it and telling Mitch that I bought it. He's like, oh, it's on Shudder.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, okay.
I bet your other set of headphones has cords.
Oh my god.
Bro, easy on my cords right now.
I don't know if you guys know, but I got AirPods. I'm in the future.
Yes. I would still love to own One Cut of the Dead because I don't own a copy yet, but I did see it on Shudder.
Well, the reason it's one of these weird things I bought.
Do you want to give people an idea of what it is?
Sure. Well, it's a Japanese film, I think, but it's like a Japanese Indonesian production, I think. Anyhow, it's about a zombie film being made, and then as the film is being made, actual zombies attack. That's kind of all.
But they don't realize it. So
they don't realize it because they're obviously like on a movie set. So there's characters who are in makeup, zombie makeup, so when actual zombies appear, they don't really know how to act properly around these zombies. I don't really want to give any more away than that, to be honest. And I mean that wholeheartedly because this film goes in some really interesting directions. And
It's super fun.
Stick with it past half an hour.
Yeah, I
Because
think...
the first half hour, like, I didn't have as big of a problem with it as everyone else did.
Oh, really?
But it's pretty bad at the beginning.
Well, the thing... I don't know. I don't even know if I'd call it bad. I mean, to me, it's just like...
Well, you
really,
didn't know what it was going to be. There's no way.
In the grand
No, I
scheme
had
of
no
things,
idea.
it's not that bad. But when you're watching it for the first time, I did think that was bad at the start.
It's just so campy. To me, it's like I could tell... I didn't know what was going to happen, but I could tell something was going to happen.
Something more.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to hype it up too much because you should really go in as blind as you can. But yeah, fantastic film. Like, this is the kind of movie that I think will probably develop a following.
It already
probably
has,
already
man.
has because
Yeah.
I think even the release, it came out in Japan in 2017, and it's just now kind of getting this like
It fucking
love and
blew up
resurgence,
last year. Yeah.
which is great.
Well, it was a big catch for Shudder.
Yeah, it was my third favorite film of the year last year.
I thought
And
it
more.
was. I thought it was. I thought it was a 2019 release, but then looking into it, I realized that like technically it's not. Blah blah blah. However you want to look at that, and without a doubt, if you have Shudder, this is a must-watch film if you haven't seen it yet. The DVD is also
I
available.
was going to say, you're really glad your VHS worked.
But the DVD is actually like what is it, Region 3 or Region 1?
Oh, it's region locked.
So
But it's
laser
unlocked.
disc.
It's a weird one of those like British releases where it's not region locked, so you can still buy it and play it on American DVD players.
I was going to say, for anyone who does encounter that problem, PS4s actually are they will lock and unlock because
Yeah.
I've had to do that.
They're good. You can also get a region free DVD player
Yeah.
if you want. But
Right.
the thing is now
Yeah.
I'm all about the Blu-ray because I don't speak broke.
Yeah.
But
You know what, guys? If a Blu-ray existed, I would have got it. So
Yeah, I'm
get
going
off
to get it.
my uncircumcised dick.
fucking great movie though.
But yeah, honestly,
awesome
and
movie.
like this is a film that was made on such a short budget, like small budget, $25,000. It's noted now for making 1,000 times its budget at the box office.
And when you watch it all the way through, you'll understand.
You'll understand why. It's shot in 8 days after like a series of workshops the director conducted with actors around Tokyo. Like just an insane feat. And the film itself is kind of like a journey to get through. And I feel like once you get to the end of it, you appreciate the film more and more as you really think about it.
You're having so much fun in that last like 40 minutes.
Oh.
Like, even when it
Even
just
the credits,
yeah,
man.
honestly, yeah, like everything even right after like things really kick off. It's such a fun movie to watch.
And I couldn't recommend it anymore. It lived up to my expectations. I really, really enjoyed it. I think, yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. I got 5 things.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm going to do all 5, but I'll start off here. But I'll kick off with another Shudder exclusive.
Ooh.
So new to Shudder as of last week, it came out on Thursday, which is the night that I watched it. Shudder released Bliss, which is written and directed by Joe Bagos, who also directed the upcoming VFW that everyone's talking about so much.
Oh, the one where we guessed the plot.
Yeah. I was like, is that one starring Weird Al Yankovic?
We talked about it. We like
UHF.
we danced around that for like half an hour last episode.
So
as
once
if we
again,
knew what it was about.
Shudder exclusive. This movie, it's starring Dora Madison, who played Mizuka's daughter in Dexter. She also plays Becky on Friday Night Lights, like the TV series, which I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It's honestly top 3 favorite shows for me of all time.
Never seen it.
Oh, it's so good. It's a teen drama to the max.
What's the phrase from that show that's famous?
Never give up, never surrender. Just kidding. I don't know. Like,
What is it? Never mind.
I think. Oh wait.
Do you know what I'm talking
I know
about?
what you're talking about. Yes,
It's
it's
some bullshit Tumblr type.
It's been a while.
line.
Yeah, it's
time it's personal.
No, even worse.
What do Dylan Panthers say? It's something like that. Like I can't.
Okay, continue. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, look it up, please. But yeah, so this one, like I said, starring that chick from Friday Night Lights and Dexter. Before I get on with the review, I just want to say that I think that actor is just fucking awful. I think she is Dora Madison. I'm sorry, but like I would cancel you if there was anything to cancel. There's like she is so bad. She was so bad in Friday Night Lights, and she was so bad in Dexter, and she's debatably the worst she's ever been in this movie. But if last week's episode on House of Wax taught us anything, is that you can have really bad actors and still make an enjoyable movie or a fun movie. And this is definitely a good movie. Like, it's very well made. But the film opens up with a warning about epilepsy, which totally rings true by the end by the closing credits. This movie is just constant quick cuts, and it's like at times it's kind of nauseating. And like there's some like really solid practical effects and gore. Because I don't want to give away any part of the spoiler. I'll say that if you've seen the movie Spun, do you remember the Brittany Murphy movie? Like that has similarities to it. It's about her experiment. Like she's a drug addict and she's a partier and she's living her party lifestyle and she gets a hold of this new drug. So that's
called
like
Bliss?
generic. Yeah. So
Okay.
generic horror
Setup.
synopsis.
Yep.
Insert that here. But the thing is, the movie goes into a completely different direction that I'm not going to spoil for anyone. I think it's a really interesting direction that it goes on, and I think, like I said, the practical effects are awesome. The gore is awesome. There's about a 10-minute drug trip / sex scene / three-way that involves this guy eating ass all the way around. So guy.
Wait, what do you mean all the way around?
Well, there's 2 girls, 1 guy. He licked both buttholes.
Oh,
And you watch it. So there's no Joe
I thought
Begos,
you meant like he cleaned the plate.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. Actually,
he licked the plate.
Do you see butthole?
No, but you see him straight up eating butthole, and it's,
You don't see butthole, but you straight up see him eating
his face.
butthole.
Right.
His face is up in those cheeks, and it's the guy from the original Purge, the first Purge, the guy who's like a knockoff Joker. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
The blonde guy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, how
I don't-
far he's fallen.
I don't like. Well, no, man, this is a way better movie than the Purge. Like, this is a good movie.
Can you
It's just-
imagine being
I-
like a poster child of the Purge, and then the next thing you're eating ass in a movie called Bliss?
Man, it's 2020.
I guess I can.
It's 2020. If you haven't eaten ass, you're behind at this point.
No
no
pun
pun
intended.
intended. Yeah. All right.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
Yes, clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. That's the Friday Night Lights. Yes, I love it.
Got it.
That's going to be my yearbook quote when I eventually
We're going
graduate
back
high
to
school. But no, okay,
The
so
table goes back to school.
so Bliss, back to Bliss, boys. Like
And jail.
the score of this movie, like the soundtrack, is one of my favorite things about it. And it's this really gross underground metal punk / sludge soundtrack. So it's all these bands that you would hear at Black Cat Tavern or Walkers or The Basement, like really shitty bands.
Walkers.
But it kind of makes me like it. Like I like bad bands because I spent fucking 15 years watching them. Like,
Oh, so
as a part
they
of-
acclimated you properly.
yeah, honestly, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I know my band was not like that. Like these bands are bad, but it's still good. Like it's good. It's cool because it brings you into the whole world of like this underground party scene that you're not used to, but the problem is like you're surrounded. I know I swear a lot on the podcast. That's a big thing that lots of people point out is I say fuck a lot, but Jesus Christ, you guys, these are ultra fuckheads. Like everyone in this movie is just every third word is fuck. Like, oh fucking man,
Fuck, bro,
yeah,
fuck
fuck
shit,
bro, pass me the good stuff. Fuck. It's
Sound like
annoying.
my people.
So it's annoying, but so the characters are annoying. But yeah, in my opinion, if you have Shudder, you should check this movie out for yourself. See if you're gonna like it, because for the most part, man, all I've seen is praise for this thing. I saw a lot of people name it their #1 favorite horror movie of last year.
Really?
So that's saying a lot. It didn't overly connect with me. In my opinion, there's a lot of comparisons that could be made to The Devil's Candy, which was my favorite horror movie of 2017. But The Devil's Candy is a lot more my speed. No pun intended, but I will take it because speed, drugs.
Yeah, right.
You have me intrigued.
Yeah, no, watch it. I think Boozy, you should definitely check it out. I think every horror fan, unless you have like unless you're like Kyle, where you have a super long list to catch up on.
Sorry.
No, that's nothing to be sorry about. You're lucky. You get to go to all these like A+ movies. But if you're like someone like me or Boozy, or you've kind of exhausted your options and you want to just see something new, definitely check out Bliss on Shudder. See if you like it.
I was wondering if when that was coming out actually, because my friend Colin was telling me about that one.
Bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Good to know.
there's some really cool parts, really cool moments. There's a lot of butts. I'm a big fan of butts, so that worked. But yeah,
What did Courtney think?
she loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah, thank you for asking. She loved it. Like she thought it was fucking awesome. And when that movie ended, I looked over at her and I thought that she was gonna hate it because it was all butts. like
Right.
there's a lot of like
butt overload potentially.
there's butt overload, and there's a lot of like naked girls in it. So I was
See,
like,
that's why I was asking, because I was like, could she cut through all that shit
oh,
and
dude,
find a good
she
movie
loved
in
it.
that?
She
Cut
loved it
through the
because
ass?
she thought it fit. It like the over sexualization of everything in that
Mm-hmm.
movie totally fits the theme of what that movie's going for.
Because
And-
you know the whole movie is just it's attacking your senses
Yeah.
as a dumb male, right?
Yeah, I'm a dumb Neanderthal.
Yeah, so like as soon as you saw butts, like your brain kind of went into like this.
I
like,
stopped paying attention to the
Yeah.
movie and I just saw boom, boom, ba-dunk, ba-dunk. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Moving on, boys. I checked out another new horror movie that I didn't have a chance to check out last year. This is a 2019 release called Freaks. Freaks.
With a Z? A
No.
Z? Z?
This one's written and directed by Zach Lipofsky and Adam B. Stein. Okay. Zach Lipofsky and Adam B. Stein. It's starring Emil Hirsch.
Hey.
Yeah.
I like Emil Hirsch.
know.
Yeah, he's canceled.
Is he canceled?
I like Emil Hirsch too, but he is
Yeah.
canceled.
What did he do?
Dude, he choke slammed a woman at Sundance and dragged her over a table until she blacked out.
Okay, well, was he
He
trying
went to jail for 15 days.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, was he trying out
days?
to
Yeah.
be like the Undertaker?
No,
Like,
it's not.
It's not wrestling related.
No, it's not. It's
Damn,
but
I
the thing
liked
is,
him. Oh, he's canceled now.
Yeah, he's canceled, and you know what? It's impossible to defend. But what is nice to know is that he's gotten sober, which is a big thing. He was blackout drunk when that happened. Doesn't give him any excuse. But I'm not about to defend Emil Hirsch. I'm sorry.
Kind of sounds like you are.
Honestly, I was hoping that it was like a wrestling tryout.
I like Emil Hirsch.
It sounds like
I
it
like
could
him as
be.
an actor as well. I really I love a lot of movies that he's in, and I think he always does a good job at what he does. But someone who you can't dispute is awesome, who's also in this movie, is Bruce Dern. Bruce Dern always rules, and he is so good in this movie. And then it's also starring a child actor named Lexi Calker. So Lexi Calker plays Chloe, who's a young child who has been deprived of seeing the outside world by her father, played by Emil Hirsch, who claims to be protecting her from the horrors that are occurring in the outside world. So it's almost like a Munchausen.
I'm already sold.
I really want you to watch this because I want to know, and I would love for you to watch it. But this was another one. This one made a lot of lists.
So this means he didn't like it.
No, I liked it. But the thing is, the direction. Okay, so just let me finish this out. So it's pretty much impossible to go into any details about this movie without spoiling anything. But I definitely commend this movie for taking some pretty big swings. There's some huge swings made here. Not all of them land, but it's rare these days that you find a movie that can actually surprise you in any way. And this movie is it's very all over the place, but in the end, that's one of the strengths of the storytelling. I think that it's a really well-made movie and a really well-told story. Even though it's super convoluted at times, the story changes every 10 minutes. If you think you know where it's going, you don't. And that's amazing. I love that. I want to experience that. Did I absolutely love where it went? Not really, but I commend the fuck out of it for taking those swings and doing something different. So this is one where it's constantly subverting your expectations. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but I will say, not everything worked for me in this movie in the end. But like I said before, it's nice to have a middle-of-the-road horror movie that will constantly keep you guessing, and you almost have no idea where it's going to go. So that's all I'm going to say about the opening, because that's all the trailer showed you. That's all the synopsis tells you. But the movie goes places.
Gotcha.
And,
It goes.
It moves.
I really wish that we could record an episode, but like film it as well, because people don't realize how much hand language we use.
We are always, and we always have our hands.
I was mesmerized by your different hand thing. It was like a little dance.
Yeah, I always move my hand. I'm a hand talker.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
we're like a bunch of Italians at what the fuck is like a meat shop?
It's so good spaghetti.
Sorry, where?
We're like a butcher shop.
No, at a Chianti's. We're like,
At a Chianti's. Yes. The well-known franchise.
fuck you guys.
Saskatoon's own.
Shitty pasta place.
All right, so that's Freaks from 2019. Moving on from that, I'm going to talk about the first ever time I've talked about an Indiegogo movie that I contributed to. And it's for a movie called In Search of Darkness, which is directed by David Weiner. I think it might be a Weiner, but it's Weiner or Weiner.
I have a question about this.
Yeah.
Was there a shitload of trouble with this movie?
Absolutely. There always is.
I saw somebody
People have
talking.
been shitting on it.
Yeah,
but
I saw somebody talking about it because of the quality of what they got for their contributions.
Okay, so the price was a little steep. But
Okay, what did you get? Did you get like a bundle, or was it just?
I just got the movie.
Okay,
I just got the movie,
like,
but
like a Blu-ray, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll keep talking about the Blu-ray, but it's a movie. In Search of Darkness is a 4.5 hour documentary entirely about 80s horror movies. So if you've been listening to the Tear Table at all, if you listen to a
Clearly
couple
up the
episodes,
alley.
you know that 80s shit is where Boozy and I came from. Like, that's especially, like, I can't fully speak for you, but 80s was a huge time for me.
100%.
I wasn't born in the 80s, but that's why I love horror movies so much.
I think it feels like
our
roots are more in the 80s.
It's our roots, yeah, it totally is. And so here's the thing is, like, I'm a guy who consumes pretty much every horror documentary I can find. If I buy all the Scream Factory. Scream Factory is actually, they're making it harder for me to support them lately because they've been putting out like terrible fucking artwork. Like I showed the Pet Sematary 2 artwork, which is just god awful. And like they just announced today that they're doing Idle Hands.
I was gonna mention that.
Oh, sick.
But the thing is as much as we buy those for all the special features and everything else, that artwork plays such a huge part in getting those sales.
It does. But the thing is, like, I have fucking so many shelves full of Scream Factory movies. I've been supporting them for years. I obviously love what they put out content wise, and for the most part I've liked their art, but I think they got to retool some shit because that Pet Sematary 2 art is embarrassing. I think the Idle Hands art is super lackluster. Like, I think it could have been so much cooler. I love that movie. Like,
that's a cool movie to get a re-release.
Oh man, I'm so excited. That's one I've upgraded like almost all my DVDs to Blu-ray because I'm a pretentious piece of shit.
I haven't. I'm only DVD.
Oh, fucking poor.
Yeah, I have like 6 cents.
Honestly,
Man, I have a couple cassettes you can have.
Yeah, I know a place that might hire
you. DVD. Cassettes are actually going for money now.
Anyway,
oh shit! I got a gold mine.
Jesus, I went so off track here. What I was meaning to get is that one of the reasons why I buy those movies is because I love the special features. For example, the movie that we're talking about today, The Fly. I watched I watched that movie twice because I watched it once with Courtney and then I watched it once with the David Cronenberg commentary.
Oh, sick.
Okay, the interesting part is that Mitch brings the most to the table every week. But also he watches special features. So we got to figure out how much time per each week are you... Because that's like, it's impressive.
I think I need to just get this out of the way right now. And I can get it out of the, I think I've already tried doing this once, but I'm going to do it one more time.
Okay.
Guys, I'm telling you, this is how I watch so much movies. It's called depression. I have severe depression.
Okay.
And no, but if you ever notice that it's depression and stress, movies are my thing. It's my exit. So when you guys are at the gym, like, actually I've been going to the gym a lot lately, so I'm proud of myself for that. But
big ups.
When you're at the gym or you have like 5 jobs or like other people have different hobbies, man, I'm at the gym or I'm at school or I'm fucking crying.
I go to the gym too. It's chill, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
I swim.
Yes,
you go do whatever the fuck Kyle does.
Yeah, you jack off all the time.
You guys will never just let something be about me.
Sorry.
No, but yeah, that's how I watch so many movies. It's what I like to do. Like on the weekends when you guys are doing shit, I don't know if you guys are just sitting on your phone. Me and Courtney are watching movies till our eyes bleed. Like, that's what we do. It's my thing.
Wow, that's sick.
It's what I like.
I'm not judging. I just I don't have the attention span for that.
I wish I had the time. I wish I could make more time. I actually go out of my way to make time to watch movies.
And I suggest to everyone out there, if movies are what you love, make more time for them. Go see more movies, watch more movies. It will make you feel better. It's nice to get out. It's nice to get out of your own head and into someone else's for a while. That's why I love it so much.
Would you... I don't mean to cut you off, but would you recommend this documentary you're going to talk about? Because
this documentary that we were getting to talk about.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get us back onto track, but I'm also trying to bring up that I've actually heard about this doc.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but it is from a YouTube channel I subscribe to called Good Bad Flicks.
Yes. Okay, so here's the thing, is that this is like...
Not a sponsor. I'm sorry.
Literally
Squarespace.
There's so many fucking horror legends in this movie. But the movie opens up with Ryan Turek, who is a host of Shockwave's podcast, and he works for Blumhouse. Then you have our personal friend Joe Dante is on the show. He's on the documentary.
Shout out Joe. I know you're listening.
And we spent some time together.
But there's even people you wouldn't expect from it. I commend anyone for making documentaries like this for us fans, because it's just like this. If you're like me, yes, this is worth it. You'll never get enough of this. But did I learn anything new? Not at all. I know all of this. But for me, I'm like, this is just, if you're like me, this is the shit I love. I love these 80s horror movies. I'll take that back. I did learn some things. I made a list of like 8 movies that I actually hadn't seen that are just blind spots that they talk about throughout the 4.5 hours. And there's a couple things that they spend some time on that I hadn't seen before. So I made a list about it. So that's nice. but it's also 4.5 hours.
I was just gonna say, for a movie that long, you should have something to say.
But give us a fucking essay at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that my main problem and where I can see people complaining is that what's the word that I'm looking for here? The structure of the film is senseless. Like it starts off at some point, like they'll go through the entire.
It's like our show.
It is, yes. They go through the entire, but the thing is, you're not spending all this money on our show.
Right.
We will refund anyone. I'll just get that out of the way.
We're gonna somehow give them their time back.
No.
We are the timekeepers.
But listen, you're like,
the
yes, the structure is a little senseless, but you're just watching legends talk about legendary films that we love.
Was Kane Hodder in it?
Yeah, Kane Hodder's in it.
Kane Hodder's in fucking everything.
It's pretty cool listening to John Carpenter just trash Halloween 2, which he does, and then Nick Castle even comes in and talks about how if he would have been asked to come back for Halloween 2, he would have said no. Like, that's the kind of things that you could have found.
Sad because I like Halloween 2.
I love Halloween 2 too, but the thing is, but they didn't know what it was going to like.
Right. They didn't know what it was going to become and what it was all going to spawn from
they
it.
told their story, and that's whatever. But I think it's interesting hearing stories from those people, even if I've heard them before. But there's, at the end of the day, this thing, it's a labor of love. I think that, like, there's not a whole lot to learn here for veteran horror fans, but if you're like me, this is all you care about anyways. So, like, it's fun. Like, it's almost like a coffee table book.
Right. Okay.
That you could just have on in the background, just tune in when you want to.
So is it like the intention of the film to be sort of this like definitive history log? Is that kind of the idea?
I think so, but that is not what they got.
Because I mean, for someone like yourself who is well versed in all the subject material, even someone like yourself could kind of like, how am I trying to say this? You wouldn't even notice, like, oh, this is the definitive, like, documentary to watch.
Yeah, no, like, I will say, hands down, Never Sleep Again is still better than this. Okay. And that's a 4.5 hour documentary, but the thing is, that's also just on the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And, like, that, like, I keep in mind, also, I already said this to you guys off air, but I watched that 4.5 hours in multiple parts. Like, I couldn't sit through 4.5 hours.
This, like, recent
I may be a fucking neckbeard idiot, but I'm not that bad. And like, yeah, so it was fun for what it was.
Somebody at home who watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was thinking.
I feel like they really didn't know. They got all these amazing interviews, like awesome interviews, but at the same time, you've heard all of these interviews somewhere else, especially in the world of podcasts. Like if you're like me, like I listen to Postmortem with Mick Garris, so I've heard him have all these legends on and talk about this stuff. So I've heard them tell these stories already. But it's cool to just be reminded of how big of an impact these movies had on lots of people. So right. I think overall, I still give it a thumbs up. I think that like I said, it's a labor of love. These weren't filmmakers who made this. Like they're not professional to the. It's not like someone. Right. It's not like fucking Werner Herzog is making this documentary.
Yo, that'd be sick.
Yeah. But the thing is, for what it is, it's cool. But if I could take my $55 that actually got inflated because of U.S. money, I would. If I could take it back, I would.
So is it kind of like when like a band releases a greatest hits album, but not even like their first greatest hits album? It's like another one like 10 years later.
Yo, dude, have you heard the new Dashboard Confessional greatest hits? Because it's embarrassing.
I actually have.
It's bad. Oh my god.
I was like going through Dashboard pretty hard about a week ago.
Dude, me too. But it doesn't hold up.
No,
it doesn't hold up.
Some songs do, but not
hands
many.
down. I love hands down.
Get out of this corner.
Okay.
I wanted to interject in here because I actually had seen a couple people on the gram talking about this exact same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of their complaints were with the actual product that they got themselves, because there was different levels of packages, right? So you get certain things with them. Yeah. And there was a lot of, like, I'd seen from a lot of people were talking about it, that they had like damaged product when they arrived, and it was like stuff that wasn't like, it was like weird creases in posters and stuff that wouldn't be something from the mail. And then it was also, I believe for some of the Blu-ray copies, they're actually not true Blu-rays. They're like knockoffs.
Oh. So honestly, I haven't looked at mine close enough, so that could have very well been
that's why I was asking about it, is that like it wasn't a true, I'm not sure what the semantics of that is, but it was not a true Blu-ray. It's like a knockoff one.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
So what I'm getting at, like when you were saying that like, oh, you can't judge it by a certain thing because it's not a true like film crew that made it or whatever, it's still the fact that these people took a lot of money, because this raised a lot of money. You still have to put out a good product if you're doing that.
I agree.
You can't half-ass it just because you got a shitload of money so you could travel around and meet these people. That's fine, but the product itself
Yeah,
is what
that's
you're
true.
selling. You're not selling your vacation.
Yeah.
It's tough. I think a lot of the time with these crowdfunded projects, it's hard to really live up to some of those goals.
Honestly, I think they might have just gone a little bit ahead of themselves, which
Yeah.
is why I
Yeah.
give them a
I
little
agree.
bit more leeway.
I don't
'cause
want to hate on somebody for doing that, but when
No,
you
but
take in a
you-
certain amount of money, you
It was-
expect a certain quality, especially
it
for what
was
you're
expensive.
paying,
It was-
especially
it-
for Canadians to pay that
yeah,
price.
it was expensive. But
I totally hear you out. No, I think that's totally fair.
it was expensive, but I think it was a learning curve. Unfortunately, I don't think these guys are going to get another chance at it. Like if they fuck this up, but
Yeah.
like at the same time, I don't know. I didn't hate it at all. It just, to me, it was like, oh, that's just it's a compilation video of everything I already have on my shelf.
Right.
And there's a few cool things. Like it's nice to see, like Larry Cohen is in it, and he talks candidly about like Cue the Winged Serpent and It's Alive, and that's cool to see. But overall, it's just if you're out there kicking yourself, being like, "Fuck, I should have donated. I should have gotten it."
Mm-hmm.
You guys can rest easy tonight. Like it's good, but it's
Papa Mitch has you covered.
yeah. But this is, I guarantee you're going to be able to rent it online at some point. Like right now, they say that you're never going to be able to do that. Man, for sure you're going to be able to. For sure you're going to be
As
able to.
long
get
as the
a hold of
internet
it.
exists, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, fellas.
You'll
Everything's
get it.
going to be out
No,
there.
I'll leak it myself if I have to.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna
Jeez.
guys, I'm gonna hammer off these last two really quick because
I don't
they're
condone your
they're
activity.
rewatches. These ones are rewatches, so I can go through them quick. I rewatched. Courtney and I decided by proxy to do a double feature of Fede Alvarez movies. So it turns out, man, this made me sick. I almost, like, throughout the whole movie, I actually kept looking at her. I'm like, no, I've shown you this. I've shown you this movie. And Courtney's like, you've never shown me this. Evil Dead.
What?
She had
What?
never seen the Fede Alvarez remake of Evil Dead. She had never seen it. And I was like, what? I totally, if I would have known that she hadn't seen it, I would have been pushing on her along. We've been together 3 years. But so that's 3 years. I saw this movie 3 times in the theater. I know there's some people who don't like it. Shout out to my boy Scott, who I love. And I know he doesn't love this remake, but he loves the original Evil Dead, which, we all do. But I really like this remake. I think so. This one's directed by Fede Alvarez. I think it's a complete remake, and it knows where to show love for where it came from.
Yep.
That's the best part about it is you have, like, it opens up. You have Ash's car by the cabin. It's perfect. Fede can create such an intense experience, and the filmmaking that he does shows an insane amount of influence from Sam Raimi. So that's why I think he was a great fit for remaking this movie. I personally feel like he showed that he knew he was remaking something monumental and flawless, and that's what's really important when you're remaking something of this caliber. Like, obviously, Evil Dead isn't a perfect movie, but it's a perfect movie. I'm talking about the original, the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
To me, it's a perfect movie. It was obviously a troubled production, like sort of troubled production. Like, it was made with almost nothing, labor of love as well. But I think he knocked it out of the park with what he did here. He understood how to show respect. The effects are actually nauseating, and Fede shoves this shit in your face, and it makes it so you can't look away. Like, this is one of the most gory movies I've ever seen. And like when she's vomiting blood into that girl's face, he gets a shot from right below her face so that you can see that he doesn't just have a hose on the side. You see its projectile coming out of her mouth, and like from the front facing profile, and I fucking love that. I think this is without a doubt my favorite modern horror remake. Like, I love the Evil Dead, and The Hills Have Eyes and Maniac are trailing slightly behind, but the effects in this movie are just so unreal. And so I just want to, you've heard us talk about it enough before, just want to say, rewatch Evil Dead, fucking loved it again. This has got to be my 10th time. I don't even know how many times I've seen it now, but it just gets more and more fun every time I watch it. And going on from that, so we had so much fun with Evil Dead that we rewatched Don't Breathe. This is actually only the second time I've seen Don't Breathe since the first, like, we bought it, we went to it in the theater all together, and then I bought it the day it came out, but I never actually revisited it until
Did
now.
you at least unwrap it?
No, I didn't. I had the slip cover was there, but the case underneath,
okay.
it was still in wrapping. But here's have you seen Don't Breathe?
No, I haven't yet.
Is
that the one with like the blind guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, I just want to get all the way. One of my favorite things about it is that I love Detroit as a setting for a horror movie. And that's like, even though this movie takes place almost entirely in one building, these characters feel very Detroit. And don't take that the wrong way if you're from Detroit or something, like, if you're listening. What I mean by that is that everyone from Detroit, whenever there's horror movies in Detroit, you see a lot of like abandoned locations or rundown houses, and that's things that actually happen.
It's because their market crashed.
Yeah, there's a lot of like abandoned neighborhoods in Detroit. So like this movie would almost only work in Detroit, and because they're breaking into this blind guy's house who lives on a secluded block by himself, no one else is around, and the same shit happens in It Follows, which is also set in Detroit. But the thing about them is all the characters who come from Detroit in these movies, they are fighters. And that's one of my favorite things about it, is that they actually fight back. They're not just like running away from the killers. They're not just running away from problems. They actually will fight back, and you watch them kick ass throughout it. And that's things that you see in both It Follows and especially Don't Breathe. I dig the style and how kind of cold the city seems to be. There's a lot of grimy locations to utilize that characters are generally almost always interesting, and the characters are almost always interesting because of the environment that they were raised in. And I think that's an important point. But to be honest, I didn't even realize how intentional that was before I realized Jane Levy's character's name is Rocky. So the main character, I didn't even realize her name was Rocky until this time.
That's sick.
And I love that name also as like the character Rocky. Like I think Jane Levy is so fucking good in both Evil Dead and Don't Breathe. She's the lead in both, and she rocks it. No pun intended once again.
Wow.
The character Money sucks. We don't care. We all know that. Money. There's a character in this movie named Money, and it was like, honestly, man, it made me almost not want to see the movie when I saw that, because I can't handle any character named Money, but we don't care because he's just here to get iced, to get things started. Like and I'm gonna spoil that for people who haven't seen. Like if you've seen the trailer, they show that Money gets iced.
He gets cashed out.
Yes, Money could have destroyed all of this hard work, but if he lasted longer, so I'm happy that he got out of the way real quick.
It's not about the money.
Yeah. But they give you enough of a reason to root for Jane Levy and Dylan Minnette, who's also Dylan Minnette's in
Dylan Minnette.
13 Reasons Why and Open House and
what a heartthrob.
Goosebumps. He's not at all.
Oh yeah.
He's a child. He is the friend zone in this.
Honestly, Goosebumps is pretty good.
I love Goosebumps, the first one.
I love the Open House.
But
haven't seen it.
the dude living here in this movie, he's a blind ex super soldier / psychopath. Like, so Stephen Lang, I think Stephen Lang should become a horror icon because of this movie. I think that there should be a Don't Breathe 2. I know that they've been working on it for a while, but the problem is what makes Don't Breathe so fucking good is Fede Alvarez's direction. And I know Fede he's not set to direct the next one, but he's going to produce it and everything. But I think the reason why this movie succeeds is because of Fede's direction and how intense and claustrophobic the movie gets, how relentlessly brutal it is, and how gnarly of a twist there is in this movie. There's such a good twist in this one. But overall, this guy can ratchet up tension like no one that I've seen in recent years. And if you haven't checked out Don't Breathe yet, make sure to do it. If you have seen Don't Breathe and you loved it, check it out again. And if not, just, watch it again. It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Sounds good.
That's everything that I have watched. Thank you guys for listening. Let's go on to some news, but Kyle, I'll let you do this.
Okay, here we go, guys. This is another go. Boozy, hit me with the motherfucking newsy.
Welcome everyone for another week of news. We're gonna hit this quick so we can talk about The Fly. That's what we're all here for, right?
Yes.
All right. So
here to hit it quick.
Get my D-dub and dip.
Netflix bringing in March, 3rd season of Castlevania. I don't know if any of you guys watched that.
Like the anime?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Diego did. I did not.
I figured somebody was watching it.
Diego was a Castlevania.
Anyway, enjoy 3rd season if you're into that. Next thing up, we have. Yesterday was the happy birthday, 25 years of In the Mouth of Madness. Turned 25. Oh shit, I'm older than that movie.
I know. I love that movie though. Great. We did an episode on it.
We did. Next thing coming up, Mitch already took that one, so Idle Hands is coming out, the collector's edition, Scream Factory.
Very excited about that.
That is really cool.
Besides I don't love the artwork.
Still cool.
Toni Collette will star in Netflix's thriller series Pieces of Her, which is based on a novel. I thought somebody here had watched or read it.
No. Courtney was reading. Toni Collette stars in another Netflix Netflix series. I think called. We watched the whole thing. I think it's called Unbelievable.
Okay.
And Yeah, Courtney read it, and it was a decent show. It's about a serial rapist.
Oh.
Kind of something like you, Boozy.
It's like
Weird thing to implicate me in. Thank you for that.
sounds like easy content to digest.
Okay, I'm really bad with names here, so I think it's Christoph Gans. He made the original Silent Hill movies, those ones that came out in like mid 2000s.
Yeah.
He's trying to redo the franchise again, in talks right now for that, as well as a Fatal Frame movie, which are both based on video games. He's really into that.
Imagine your life's work being adapting Silent Hill.
That's a weird thing.
I'm gonna be real. I like that for a Silent Hill movie.
Yeah, it's fine. Actually.
And I like the movie or the games. Like,
I've never played the games, but I've seen. Yeah, there's like 2, right? 2 Silent Hill films.
I think there's like 4 now. Honestly,
okay, well, fuck me. I've seen the first one.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
And he's back now.
Last piece of news. Mitch probably knows more about this than I do. One of my favorite directors, Osgood Perkins, is in talks to do A Head Full of Ghosts.
Yeah,
which is based on the Paul Tremblay.
He was supposed to get that movie made before Gretel and Hansel. Yeah. Which also I would have been talking about today if Saskatoon would have been showing it anywhere. I really wanted to go see it. It's not playing anywhere here.
That's weird. I wonder why.
I really wanted to go see it because I love The Blackcoat's Daughter. But yeah, no, he was supposed to be doing Head Full of Ghosts first. But he was on a recent episode of The Boo Crew, another horror podcast.
I was going to say, you got me listening to that. I like it a lot.
Yeah, well, it's good because they have the people who, they suck off every guest they get, which I'm fine with because at least they let the guests talk. It's unlike the movie, where when Adam Green gets someone on there, he's talking about himself the whole time. It's just shut up and let them talk. But
I totally agree with you, and that's it's hard to listen to Adam Green's podcast because the two of them talk so much about themselves.
Joe so much so.
I know, but they talk about themselves so much that you don't get a ton of it. Where Boo Crew is just
there are times, there are times where you get stuff, but Boo Crew is very good at. They ask the same questions every single week. It's the most produced podcast I've ever heard, but it sounds good, and they do a good enough job doing what they do.
I listened to 2 episodes, and the second time I heard their intro, I realized what it sounds like. It sounds like any radio station in GTA.
Dude, yeah. The main guy, Trevor Shand or whatever, which I thought when I first read it, that's the podcast that originally, what's his name? Fucking
Lars von Trier?
No, wow. I can't
Lars Ulrich.
No, guitar player of fucking Rancid. Tim Armstrong is on it, and he's the one who's like, "Oh yeah, it's a really good movie," but he hasn't been on it in a really long time.
But he was like,
Return of the Living Dead. You guys ever heard that? It's a good movie.
Mitch has a couple impressions that he does really well, and that's one of them.
That's what I love Tim Armstrong. But the thing is, he hasn't been on the podcast in 40 episodes, and now they're a part of the Bloody Disgusting Network, which is cool, great for them. But I like the podcast too. I'm glad you brought that up.
We should really try and make our own version of how their intro is.
Oh,
From
man.
the depths of blah, blah, blah.
What I was getting at there, Trevor Shand, his name is. I thought it was, when I read it, I was like, new horror podcast by Trevor Strand, which is the vocalist of Black Dahlia Murder. So I was like, oh my God, I would love that.
Wow.
And then I was like, whatever, Tim Armstrong is on this one. So, but it's Trevor Shand. He's a Canadian guy, and he actually went to broadcasting school here, and then he moved out to LA. So he's a radio guy, which you can tell.
Yeah,
that's the most radio sounding podcast I've ever heard, and they bleep out swears and everything. They're fun for the whole family.
With dolphins?
No, not like us.
Not as creative as us.
Yeah, but cool. Yeah, no. I really hope to see Head Full of Ghosts soon, but apparently he has a bunch of projects on the go. And he was surprised that Gretel and Hansel was the one that got greenlit.
I find it interesting that his career before he became a director.
I didn't know that either.
When you told me about that, you should look at his back. It's weird. He was an actor for a long time.
Have you seen Not Another Teen Movie?
Yeah.
He plays the guy who's spoofing the bag guy from American Beauty. Oh, he's following the bag. That's Anthony. Yeah. He's Anthony Perkins' son, original Norman Bates.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's also in he's in all those 90. Oh, he's in Legally Blonde.
Yeah,
he plays a guy who basically, they didn't say it, but he had Down syndrome. And like he totally didn't, but it was just like that's what was comedy back in the day. Like that's what those Legally Blonde. I'm assuming they don't hold up. I'm not sure if it was Down syndrome, but he was definitely had a disability.
Weird. No, I know exactly the guy you're talking about.
It was pretty poor taste.
And he's the person that directed The Black Coat's Daughter.
Yeah, and I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, and Gretel and Hansel.
Interesting.
And he also said on that Booker episode that he wants to do a Friday the 13th movie. Yeah. So people are running with that. It's never going to happen.
It's just super interesting to look at, like, he had such a vanilla acting career, and then all of a sudden he makes these incredible movies.
Well, dude, imagine the life. Like, I often think about that, like, guys like Osgood Perkins, who they grew up with their dad who was in the business. Like, being Anthony Perkins, one of the most famous people in cinema. Imagine that being your dad and just growing up, like, on the lot. Like that, I just think that's really cool.
Like, imagine being Will Smith's kids. Like,
oh my god, just awful,
just awful.
That's the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I saw Bad Boys 3. Actually, I went to it,
and
it was terrible, but it was great.
Terrible.
I had a bunch of fun, but it's a Bad Boys movie. Like, it's very bad.
I'm more of a Good Boys guy.
Yes.
That's all I have for news, boys.
Okay. Perfect. Well,
all right, well, let's get on to our main feature conversation in which we'll be talking about Kyle's picks of the week, the original 1958 version of The Fly,
right, exactly.
And 1986 Fly, directed by David Cronenberg.
Yes.
Hey, it's Tracy Morgan. Everybody getting pregnant. Hey, pregnant. Sorry, Boozy off air was talking about how much he enjoys my Tracy Morgan impression, so I needed to toss that flex on all y'all.
Yeah, I said next to your Tim Armstrong.
Yeah,
next to your Tim Armstrong. That one's my favorite.
We'll talk about some good movies. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. All right, so welcome to the main feature presentation of the Terror Table, in which we are going to be discussing The Fly from 1958, and then we're going to be talking after that. We'll talk about The Fly from 1986. So kicking off with The Fly from 1958, it was directed by Kurt Newman, and that's all I have for intro on that.
Yeah,
it's because this was a first time watch for me.
Yeah, same here.
I think everybody.
It was a first time watch for everyone, which is crazy because. Let's go with a little bit of backstory about The Fly in general. I've always considered myself to be I've always thought The Fly 1986 top 25 horror movies of all time. I always see people compare it to The Thing and verse it up against The Thing, and to me there's still no question. Like you can't there's no The Fly is an incredible movie. I'm sorry, but that's blowing. I've already talked on this. It's a good movie. I've talked about this plenty of times before. But I love this. I love the 1986 version. But I picked up the Scream Factory. Courtney actually got it for me for Christmas, which is the Scream Factory 5 movie box set. So it has the first The Fly, and then Curse of the Fly, Return of the Fly, The Fly 1986, and then The Fly 2 with Stoltz, Rocky.
From 92 or 91?
Something like that, yeah.
And you've seen that one, hey?
I've seen Fly 2, yes.
Okay, because, there's been a couple times where, because that was a first-time watch for me. And you always be like, no love for The Fly 2? Like, it seems like you really like The Fly 2.
No, it's...
Oh, man, we'll talk about it at the end.
There's some really sad shit in that movie, I'm not going to lie.
Dude, that whole movie.
It got my heartstrings.
Yeah. It is, it's something, but we're here to talk about two Fly movies. So we're going to start off with the one from 1958.
Yep, that's right.
So this one's starring David Price, Patricia Owens, did I say David Price?
Sure did.
Vincent Price. Wow, that's one to fuck up, eh? I'm sorry, I got Tracy Morgan on the mind.
Yeah, it happens.
So we got Vincent Price, we got Patricia Owens, David Hedison, and Herbert Marshall.
Awesome.
And once again, I said directed by Kurt Newman. Who I just actually found out about, I looked it up on IMDb, but I was looking at the trivia, and apparently Kurt Newman died a month after the premiere of this movie.
That was actually the only note I had about this guy, too.
Really?
So I thought that was really interesting.
Is that the main...
The director.
The director of the film.
Oh, the director.
Yeah.
And his last feature.
Yeah, which is crazy, because obviously the movie went on to be somewhat of a success, even through... it spawned another 2 sequels. Absolutely. And then it had a remake, and then a remake of that, and then a sequel to that.
And it was in color too, so you could tell that at the time he had like a promising career coming out, like putting out a movie of this size and scale. That's pretty sad shit, actually.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest here. I did not know there was sequels to this movie.
Oh, there is. There's 2 other black and white sequels.
Yeah, and like that just makes me more interested.
I think. Okay, so here's the thing. There's no way I can do this without blowing my load. I had so much fun with both of these movies. Like I loved both, and you guys don't need to agree with me, but I loved the original The Fly, like 1958, the one we're about to talk to. I fucking loved it. But dude, I have gone ham on that box set. Like I watched 3 out of 5 movies, and I'm totally gonna. I didn't get a chance to watch Curse of the Fly or Return of the Fly. Totally going back and finishing those like this week. Like that box set is awesome, and it's fully paid off for me. I'm a big fan. So far, I'm a big fan of 2 of the movies out of the 3 that I've seen. I like The Fly 2 enough. Like I think that has its moments, but like, it has some really cool. It has some cool effects, but it is a fucking stupid movie. Like Eric Stoltz plays a 5-year-old, and like because he's the son of. We're jumping so far ahead again. Let's talk about 1958. What do you guys think?
To be honest, I thought this film had a lot going for it. I was a little surprised what direction it was going to take, because it was a little slow going, I felt at first, and I was really kind of, I don't know, I guess we can think about, I can't help but compare it to like the last classic film we featured,
House of Wax.
And what I really liked about House of Wax is that like 20 seconds into the movie, whatever the plot was concerned about was happening. For The Fly, I couldn't help but feel a little detached for a while, and I couldn't really relate to the people I was supposed to care about, like this super cool hoity-toity, like low-key, I don't know, privileged fella that was just like kind of annoying, and then I had to actually care about him dying. I don't know. I didn't feel that way.
It didn't really work for you.
No, it didn't. I wanted it to. The thing that I loved the best about it was the music, and I loved the production design. It was top notch. Like some of this shit, especially for this time, was beautiful. Even looking at House of Wax 5 years prior to this, like an amazing feat, honestly. You could tell like in that short amount of time where like filmmaking was growing, because like Hollywood films at that time, like that was like this resurgence of that.
It was really opening doors for like these are ideas that you can now make movies with. We have the ability to do this now.
And I think I generally just enjoy the premise of this film. It's a really good idea, honestly. Like
it's got that House of Wax timeless idea to it in a way.
Totally.
It's weird that I said House of Wax is a timeless idea, because at some point in history no one's gonna know what the fuck a House of Wax is.
No, but we kind of talked about it last week, where you were saying like just like what a good like concept. It's like a solid idea.
This is a solid concept.
Just makes sense.
The Fly is a solid concept too.
That's what we're talking about.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But I totally get it, because I'm going to try and go about this in the best way I can without making myself sound like the dumbest possible version that I can. But I was in a different place when I watched this movie, and like all of the slow shit that I could see being ringing annoying or kind of tedious for a lot of people. For example, there's about a 25 minutes. It feels like an hour, but it's probably realistically 12 minutes. Is them following a fly, and you just hear bzzz, and they're following it. Dude, I was on the edge of my seat.
No, you fucking.
I was so stoned, you guys. Like,
I couldn't.
Well, now you just skewed your review.
I know. I'm sorry. I was at the point. I totally did skew my. But it worked so well for me.
You're like, yeah, catch that fly.
No, because I was thinking. I was like, man, he is fucked if they don't catch this fly.
Like, that's real.
I was so.
Oh my god!
The fly with the white tuft of hair.
Yes, I was so into them.
You are the opposite, is because I wanted to like connect in any way, and it wasn't until like the last like 30 minutes where like there was some really interesting like practical elements.
It gets
happening.
really good though.
Like things were moving, but it just felt like I was really I had to take my time to get there.
I totally understand having issues with the pacing, especially after all these years. I'm sure. If you had seen it in the theater, to me, that's what suspense was back in the day.
That's
like
fair.
It was suspenseful, but it's kind of laughable now. But for me, I'm happy that I was able to get into that mindset, because fuck was it a trip.
Well, it's one of those things where I feel like
the sound cranked.
As someone who like doesn't watch a lot of classic films or like older films, I'm always a little bit worried. Like, are they just boring because they're old? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, which is not the case, obviously.
No, because
But-
even we talked about the House of Wax wasn't boring at all.
No, but then I
like
felt
this
a
more than
little
House of
bit.
Wax.
I felt a little bit of that here. And actually, yeah, I guess I didn't know what to expect, but I guess I know that film is held in high reverence, so I just figured like there's a reason why this film is a classic. And I can understand that, and I see why, but it took me a while to kind of uncover those layers, unfortunately. I don't know.
That's fine. Not everything's going to connect with you.
Yeah.
Maybe one day you'll be smart enough to understand The Fly.
Yeah, I'll watch the new season of Rick and Morty. I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Boozy, what did you think of The Fly? Be honest.
I'm honestly unfairly the same wavelength as Kyle on this one, where if they trimmed out all the stuff where I had to get to know the characters and just cut for when he's wearing that sheet on his head and go from there, I would have
Exactly.
been fine. Because
That also takes place at about 40 minutes into the movie.
Well,
Like
that's
40,
exactly, I
45
think,
minutes.
what you're trying to say.
No, I don't think you're wrong in saying there's a disconnect, but I don't think it's because of like the time difference. It just feels like they're prop ups of like how do I explain this? Okay, do you know like the Fallout games? They always kind of
I never played them, but I'll follow you.
they always kind of spoof that classic like 50s radio and TV thing where it's like we're the perfect family.
Yeah, I know.
I love you.
Do you want to know what my comparison to that is? And it's embarrassing. And this dates our podcast and myself,
All right.
but I call it the Pleasantville effect.
Oh,
Do you
sure.
guys remember
Yeah,
the
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Pleasantville?
yeah.
Like, 'cause it's that whole family of
It's
like the
the white
perfect
picket.
white picket, perfect America.
That's what I did a terrible job of explaining when I was
Yeah,
talking about
okay.
this, talking about the sort of privilege that I did.
I think it's a little worse to say the Pleasantville effect. That something
no,
came
but
out
you're-
45 years later.
You're doing a better job of explaining this right now,
Or-
Boozy, and I think
okay.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like it's so hoity-toity that it doesn't feel real. Like you've never met these people.
Exactly.
Okay,
It's a
another
different- To Kill a Mockingbird. similar.
another
that's
example
true.
would be
Elements of that.
okay, in
I can't believe I just
God.
quoted To Kill a Mockingbird, or brought up To Kill a Mockingbird on
Okay,
Right after
Little
Pleasantville.
Shop of Horrors. Audrey
Yes,
has
there we
that
go.
daydream with Seymour, and
Oh,
she's
okay.
the white picket fence, and he's mowing the lawn, and she brings him lemonade.
Right.
That's how that whole thing felt, and I
Yeah.
hated it. And then they kind of tried to make you care about the kid, but I hated him too.
Oh, he was so
I
annoying.
caught the fly, but then I let it go. It's like I'm gonna fucking deck you. Like,
or what his mom's like, oh, look at all that dirt you brought in. He gives her the fucking dirtiest
Yeah.
look of all time. What a little brat.
or yeah, and
I
then
ate
when
it all up.
he has his big breakthrough. Honey, take off those nice
Oh,
clothes
yeah.
you have and put on nicer clothes. We're gonna go watch the play now.
yeah,
Oh,
what the fuck?
Dude, I loved it.
It just made him seem like a really asshole narcissist,
Oh, totally.
and I had no sympathy.
Oh, the main character?
Yeah.
Oh, 100% he was.
But like you have no sympathy for him.
I
but-
think narcissism is a huge point
Oh.
in both of these movies.
Yeah.
And I do think that Jeff Goldblum portrayed it a little bit better because he was
it's
less
just pure sexual energy.
he was less arrogant and more sexual about it.
Yes,
That's actually
yes.
what it was. He was, and this guy
I-
was arrogant.
He was arrogant in a different way, though. He
Yeah.
wasn't arrogant about, like, even himself as, like, being better than. He was
Yeah.
just arrogant as, like, a prick, in my opinion.
We got to
Yeah.
get.
But
Here's
okay, it's after that. It's so awesome, and I love the
Yeah,
practical effects.
exactly.
And
I
love,
totally agree.
I love when she gives him the food, and he just covers the tray, so all you have is the sound, and you have to try and figure out what your mind is making out of
Or
that.
even when you first see, like, the fly hand. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, my God, what the fuck is
I
going
think
on here?
Boozy's gonna feel me here. The scene where he's crying.
Oh,
I was like, oh yeah, dude, been there, been there, my guy. No, but like,
my guy.
but no, like, okay, so Patricia Owens plays Helene, who she's a woman. The movie opens up with her admitting to killing her husband in a compactor.
Right.
So that's what I like about it, is that so much of this movie is about paranoia and whether they're going to believe this crazy woman or not.
well, it starts
And-
out as a crime drama, and then rapidly switches.
Totally. But that's what I like about it, is that the way that she's wording everything, the way that she's speaking to them, she's gone crazy. Like, she's broken.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that, the psychology behind that in this movie, and I found that really interesting throughout. That's one of the reasons why I really like this movie. And I think it's really cool unraveling the story. Like, you know, this is the classic, like, you think about Bewitched. Like, I'm thinking about the stuff that I watched when I was a kid that was, like, on AMC, like throwbacks, or... You know, like, I watched the original Bewitched, and there's always the fade out. There's like the, and then it goes back in time. I know people can't
The
see
time
my hand.
You want
fade.
like the mirage effect.
Yeah, and then it like kind of dissolves a little bit,
Yeah.
and then it goes back in time, and she's telling the story. And I couldn't help but be totally into it. The whole idea of how this guy just has these telepods, and how he like, there's the scene where he is deciding to teleport the cat, and I've become a cat person recently. That's a problem. Like, I've never liked cats, and I love Boozy's cats. I love Courtney's brother's cat. I've just been into them. But something that happens in all of these Fly movies, some worse than others, is they eventually use real animals.
Mm-hmm.
And when he uses the little kitten, which is now a cat or whatever, and then it gets stuck into like the ether, like it's like, whoa.
That part was kind of funny because there was never really a payoff for
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
I know.
Like, is
Dude,
it still meowing?
That
Or-
cat is just, it's in oblivion. It's
Yeah.
just fucking lost.
He just
forever.
made that cat fucking ascend.
Dude, I was so nervous when that happened.
That's funny. I
But-
think a lot of those like elements that maybe don't seem horrific at the time.
Okay,
they're lasting.
It's
Yeah.
funnier as a cat owner because my cats scream in the morning for food. So imagine if I did that to both of them, but they're still technically somewhere in
And they
my
can't
house.
get food?
Yeah, and
Wow.
I can't feed them.
Yeah. You just hear
It's-
Loomis. I shot him 6 times.
It would be like the telltale heart. I would just start screaming.
Yeah. But man, like you can totally see the thing about watching this again, or watching this for the first time, is that you can see how this has Cronenberg written all over it. This is the Cronenberg sensibilities written all
Sure,
over it.
yeah.
Like you can totally see where he would take this version. But I do like it as a stripped down 1950s version of a classic horror tale. And I like the idea of, like you said, you mentioned when he has the towel over his head and everything, the whole paranoia behind everything. And, you know, putting yourself in, you got to put yourself in the time when this movie came out and imagine what kind of paranoia and what kind of, how much that would trip you out.
People would have been freaking out as soon as they saw the hand. And
Yeah.
eventually when you do see that big reveal, I understand. Like, if you were back at that time, how
Absolutely.
much you would fucking lose it.
Most important thing, and that's one thing I didn't learn this from In Search of Darkness, but they pointed it out and it made me actually, I watched In Search of Darkness, the horror documentary, before I watched this,
Right.
and I watched this afterwards, and the one thing I did notice, like obviously I paid attention to this before, but it really made this movie better for me, is the impact of score. Like the classic score of the like 50s Fly, and it's same with
Oh, it's so good.
yeah, there's I've watched the Invasion of Body Snatchers as well today, so like I'm going to talk about this next week. But score plays a huge role in
Okay.
all of these old movies and all of these classic movies, and I think it does totally make everything pay off so much better when you just have like this rank score telling you that you're going to be scared, but you don't
totally.
even realize it when you're like when.
Well, it helps like keep you immersed in the film, right? Like, and it's a completely different method to, I don't
Totally.
know, have whatever's happening on screen feel effective. I think, yeah, I mean, that was definitely actually one thing about this film I loved was the music. And I'm not like super familiar with the music from the original Fly, but
No.
I felt like I was definitely hearing sounds that like
Well, you were. It
That
was
I've heard
enough
from
for
something else.
you noticed it.
absolutely, yeah.
I wish I could just name off art like, oh, you know, like Bebop,
Composition
Yeah.
B minor.
you know, like Bebop Willie's classic blues song.
I just think I don't know. And the other thing about this movie too is that it has like a lot of other films of this era. There's things like this thing is loaded with fade outs. Like there's
Yeah, that's
tons of
true,
fucking
yeah.
fade outs, dissolves. And this was the way that like television programs were made back in the day in order to cut for a commercial break. So, but like there's so many scenes in this movie where it just does a fade out.
There's things like that that I think could make it feel hokey and kind of like a little dated.
This
but
is a class.
but
like,
then there's
I
other
liked
things
it,
that
yeah.
it's like
elevate
the classic
it.
monster movie.
It
Like,
acclimates you to it really well, so it's not shocking when it does happen.
Well, I think just even the general like production value of the film helps that, and plus the music. Like there's certain beats to like I don't know the editing of it. Like it I don't know. It could feel overblown for some, but I thought it actually kind of worked. I don't know.
Yeah. For me, closing thoughts on this movie is that like I feel like this is a good depiction of it's a good portrayal of like desperation and obsession.
We're not even going to talk about the ending, how wild this movie gets at
No,
the
we
end.
Oh my
definitely
God.
need to. We
The
have.
spider fucked me up.
Yeah,
bro.
dude.
I'm just saying that this is the most elaborate fly catching scene I've seen in a movie ever. Like where it lasted
Without
at
a
least
doubt.
10 to 20 minutes. And
Probably could have shaved off most of that.
I thought it was top notch.
18 minutes for sure.
To my stoned ass, it was top notch suspense, and I thought this movie was traumatizing.
You were just at the edge of your seat,
dude.
I hope they catch that.
No, dude. Here's the thing too:
way.
is that I've been back in the game fairly recently. That kush works for me.
He never doesn't sound white.
I'm sorry.
That kush
There's
works for me.
There's no way for me to not sound like a cop.
You're that
right.
meme where it's that kid standing $40 for a gram, perfect.
That is me. Yeah. Fuck. That's half of what I used to pay a market mall. Okay, you guys can close out that. Let's talk about the ending of The Fly.
Okay, because we did talk about how it starts out as a detective story, then you completely forget that's happening, really.
Yeah, and it goes balls to the wall, basically.
Right back to,
It's a morality tale at the end of the day.
Help me.
Oh my god,
If
when you first hear him say that, it killed me.
You
It's
killed
Vincent Price.
I know.
You killed a fly with a human head. She killed a human with a fly head. You're just as much of a killer as she is.
That's actually kind of huge.
That
That's
is a
true.
morality tale. Oh man!
But the only
It's
thing that
so
would have made that more
ridiculous.
impactful is after that whole scene, all you hear is this cat wailing in its ether of wherever.
Yeah, just a reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
that
what you've done. Yeah,
I think we all learned a lesson today.
I also really loved Vincent Price in this film. I thought he was great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
He's more flamboyant than ever I've seen him though in this movie. Like he's so fucking flamboyant in this movie, which I love.
especially just from seeing House of Wax like not too long ago, I'm starting to see like I'm learning more about Vincent Price through these films.
Did you guys believe that love story that randomly was sprinkled in there?
that he was in love with her?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not really.
Because they did admit, he's like, yes,
Yeah.
actually, I do love
Do
her.
you love her? Yes, I love her.
As someone who this movie worked for very well, no,
No, that didn't work.
that wasn't one of the moments.
I kind of
of
got
this
confused.
movie.
Well, actually, I immediately, because I was looking at this like the character names on Wikipedia, and they all have the same last name. I didn't understand that they were brothers for the longest time.
But
Yeah.
he doesn't hold anything. It's like, my brother's dead? Yes, of course I love his wife.
Oh my god, there's so many kind of funny lines at the beginning, but I guess. I don't know. I wrote this quote down because I thought it was so funny that when she's getting questioned by the police at the beginning, and they're like, what did it say? Did you kill your husband? I killed my husband. Can you answer? I cannot answer at this time. She's like, no, I cannot answer that.
But
You made a good point, Mitch, saying that maybe she was just like out of her mind.
I think
So
she actually had gone off her rocker at that point. Like,
I guess that's fair.
Dude, I was totally into it. Like when and this is like early on in the movie, but when it's like she's like the nurse or the maid or something.
I think it's just the maid, yeah.
Where she actually kills the fly and she starts freaking out and running over to the window.
Right, yeah.
Man, I loved it. I thought it was traumatizing. I thought
guess
they
I
did a really good job for their era and what this movie.
So back in that time, though, I have to wonder, did they not take anybody to the hospital? Like, it seems like
That was the hospital.
It was her bedroom.
Yeah.
With the fly, yeah, that part is the bedroom. She was at the hospital at some point.
Yeah.
But
I
like
don't
literally
know.
right after
She was being monitored and everything. Like
I think like the beginning, I should say probably the first like 15, 20 minutes, I thought were pretty good. Especially when she's like running away from the press or whatever that was. And then, but like 30 minutes after that, I honestly kind of checked out, unfortunately. I wish I hadn't.
30 minutes after that?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's where it gets so good. Dude, I love...
It's pretty slow, my guy.
Okay, you jogged my memory on this, but yeah, Vincent Price enjoying himself in the park, just sitting very introspectively, and all you hear is,
Help me.
Isn't that so funny? I had to
'cause-
rewind. I was like, wait, am I just
I
hearing
was
this?
waiting
Yep.
for him to do like the, oh, what is that sound? But he never. It's just
No.
like he's fucking
No.
ignoring. Like,
I don't know if you guys saw, but what I was trying to do, what I posted on our Terror Table Instagram was the picture of Kyle with the Pokemon hat. I was trying to make him have the head of a fly.
Oh.
And then I was trying to make it look like Boozy and I were looking at him. But
And I'm yelling.
Yeah, you're help me, but you're wearing a Pokemon hat.
Actually checks out because I'm terrified of spiders. And that fucking
That spider
practical
fucked
spider
you
at the
up?
end really fucked
Dude,
me up.
yeah, that would be...
That was gnarly.
That's a fate far worse than death.
Oh,
Like getting transformed into a fly with a human head and then getting eaten by a tarantula.
like a giant fucking
Yeah,
tarantula
fuck.
is just in the park. They
Man,
don't care about
this
it
movie's
either.
pure horror.
I just want to say that you guys had the most Canadian interaction ever. Because you were, I can't remember how it started, but oh fuck yeah, and then you're like, oh, it's fucking gnarly. Oh yeah, like
That's trades talk, bro.
We come from certain places.
like I can just tell, like someone who lives in a different country hearing that's the Canadian really coming out right
yeah,
there.
bud.
Oh fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Just so you guys know
Okay.
All right.
what time it is.
Checks
Okay.
out.
You don't get it, do you? All right, so let's close out this Fly conversation here. We're going to get onto the Fly from 1958, but like, or
we just did.
1986, sorry. But overall, let's talk about like recommendations. I 100% recommend checking this one out if you haven't yet. And I totally understand being on the opposite end of things, but I personally loved it. I loved this movie.
I think it is a good film. I don't think it's a bad movie, but I don't think it's essential viewing if you're just like wanting to revisit The Fly that we're going to talk about right away, or you haven't seen it before. I'm not mad that I watched it by any means, and I think there's a lot of things to appreciate, but I don't think it's essential. I don't know.
I'm gonna say watch it up until a certain point. You can have it on 2 times speed. Just to get through, Mitch. I'm gonna say that it was probably whatever you were on, because it is really fucking boring at the start. But once it gets to the good stuff, it's really good.
That's what I mean. It is a good movie. It has a lot of good things going for it, but I don't know.
Can I be real with you guys? Like when I was texting you guys telling you how much I was loving the original Fly, that was within the first half an hour. I was so into it. Just the world.
You thought I was like the fucking Stepford Wives or something?
No, I was into the world. I like this idea, and I've seen it played out in so many other movies, so it was cool to see where it came from.
Fair enough.
And even Joe Dante's Matinee, like they make a joke about mant, like half man, half ant. And it's like, it totally is, it just feels like a homage to The Fly. And so I loved it. I totally recommend it. But let's get on to The Fly from 1986.
I think you're making a mistake. I think you really want to talk to me.
Sorry, I have 3 other interviews to do before this party's over.
Yeah, but they're not working on something that'll change the world as we know it.
They say they are.
Yeah, but they're lying.
There is a limit, even to the imagination.
Human teleportation, molecular decimation, breakdown, and reformation is inherently purging.
Where our greatest creations meet our deepest fears.
Something went wrong, Seth. When you went through, something went wrong.
You are about to go beyond that limit.
Those weird hairs that were growing out of your back, I had them analyzed. But they were definitely not human.
If you saw how scared and angry and desperate he is.
I'm sure Typhoid Mary was a very nice person, too, when you saw her socially.
No!
You're afraid to be destroyed and recreated, aren't you?
You're changing, Seth. Everything about you is changing.
Oh, no. What's happening to me? Am I dying? I want to know what's going on.
What does the disease want?
It wants to turn me into something else. Oh, no. A fly got into the transmitter pod with me that first time when I was alone. Don't go back to it. Could be contagious.
I'm afraid!
Don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Help me. Please, help me.
And we have reached The Fly from 1986, which was a remake directed by Canadian-born legend David Cronenberg. So we've talked about that. Was actually the first time Kyle ever came on the show. Is Diego couldn't make it for a show, so we messaged Kyle last minute, said, "Hey, do you want to talk about Videodrome tomorrow?" So you watched.
Actually, I think Diego was there.
I wasn't there.
Oh, right.
The first time, yeah.
And then the second time Diego was there, and you
Other way around.
Other way around.
Okay.
I got to sample both on my first
Flavors.
2 shows. Both, yeah.
Sweet.
But you're right. That was the first time I was ever on the show here,
It's
just as a
Videodrome.
guest.
It was Videodrome and then
Perfect Blue.
Right.
Okay, cool. And then also, one thing I didn't know about this movie before I watched this, for some reason, I've seen this movie so many fucking times. This is produced by Mel Brooks.
Yeah, is that funny?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is
That's
pretty
crazy. But
I
yeah,
wonder
now,
the connection. I mean, I guess I could see that era potentially. Those two. I don't know.
Yeah.
friends.
Crossing paths.
Crossing paths.
But we can just like openly talk about it. Like, so this is it. Like I said, it's a remake of the version that we just spoke about, directed by David Cronenberg. And now we can just have our open conversations about like when was the first time you guys saw this movie? Have you seen this movie? What are your thoughts on it?
I remember seeing like a edited for TV version of The Fly. Like, I don't know, probably.
I remember, they used to play it, which seems so odd now.
But I remember it like, well, I can only really vouch for this now because that was like the first time I saw it would have been like probably 10 years ago, like a long time ago. So I always had sort of like these quintessential scenes in my head of The Fly. I knew what the story was. But then I watched it, like, kind of like really sat down and took it in for the first time just a couple days ago. And holy shit, like, this movie is amazing. I loved this movie.
Yeah,
like, I was looking forward to seeing this because there's I don't know, like, I knew a lot about it. I knew kind of how it fell into Cronenberg's catalog, blah, 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 like all the sort of quintessential ideas about this film. But something about it was just so much more like well thought out. I think there's a lot more happening in this film than just like the surface level point of view of it. And man, I had such a good time with this movie. It was also a nice palate cleanser in a way after the original, in my complete honesty.
This one, I can successfully watch beginning to end and not feel like skipping any parts of it.
I wanted to watch it again, honestly, because I felt like there was things I almost like, I know I would have appreciated more on the second time around.
You guys just aren't intellectuals like I am. That's what I think I figured out.
Did you go to the school of Dr. Kush or why?
Yeah. PhD in that Kush, baby.
Pretty huge herb. Wait, what?
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Pretty huge dank.
Boozy, like you and I have talked. I think because like we've been talking about horror movies for fucking 5 years together now, pretty much. Like even way before the show started, you and I would like when we hung out, we'd talk about horror movies. And I definitely know in passing we have mentioned The Fly, but I don't know your overall actual feelings about it. I just know that you're like, oh yeah, The Fly's sweet.
Well, and first of all, The Fly is sweet.
For the record?
For the record, just to clear that up. This is actually, now that Kyle reminded me about that, this is my third time watching it, because I remember the first time was one of those TV...
Like TBS or something would play it? Yeah.
Dude, okay, I think I can hop in right here, because the first time I ever saw it, my mom was watching it on Sci-Fi Channel. Remember Channel 39?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Channel.
Yeah, that's right.
That's probably what
and
it
was
then.
edited as fuck. But
Exactly,
the thing is, they still kept in, like, you saw Brundlefly, like, full-on Brundlefly.
That's what I mean when I was
it's
saying,
more
like,
the sexual things that they cut out, which is weird.
Which is kind of... but that's
super
They
weird.
also clipped some of the scenes
Which
when
is
he's
nothing
getting
new, but-
digested.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like I said, like some of like Brundlefly is kind of what I meant when I thought of like the quintessential like fly imagery. So I always had that in my mind, but yeah, like this edited for sci-fi TV version was a little different in a way.
So I saw that one first, and as a young kid, you don't fully know what you're seeing. You just know it was like something odd. So yeah, again, the second time I went out and I actively searched for it and watched it. And I thought it was amazing. So I hadn't seen it in quite a few years. So watching again, yes, it is amazing. I do have one caveat for it, though. It is hard to watch while you're eating.
Well, yeah. So we're talking about horror movies.
What do you...
I agree, though.
When I see David Cronenberg's name, I make myself a big bowl of chili or something.
What?
That is
I don't know about that.
So that's your problem.
I'm just fucking kidding.
Yeah, Jesus.
I'm taking everything.
I just happened to be eating when it was on, and it was...
It's gross, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Goo and ugh.
Man.
This is like, to me, the quintessential like body horror film. What do you guys think?
That's still the thing for me.
Yeah, but the thing is body horror, but like this is more body
like
horror.
outright,
Yeah,
like
because
it's gross. It's a little like
the thing
over
is,
the top in its own way.
The part about The Fly is that it's happening to one human and it's him transitioning. So it's like I understand I totally get what you're meaning by that, but I think a lot of people wouldn't even consider The Thing a body horror movie. The Thing versus The Fly overall, The Thing every single fucking day.
That's not quite what I mean.
Dude, but I gotta get this fucking straight real quick. There's lots of people out there who say that The Fly trumps The Thing.
Nope.
In every way. I'm like, not a fucking chance. This is a fucking awesome movie.
I like how our way of talking about us liking a movie is saying how another movie is better than it, though.
It's true. That's such a terrible ism, but it's
Kyle
also...
wasn't doing it.
No,
We're trying to be nice where we
it was
can.
you and me.
It's me, yeah. And also, but the thing is, it's because everyone always compares the two, because they both have outstanding practical effects. But like Boozy, like I think the first time I ever saw it, actually I know, was when my mom was watching it on the Sci-Fi channel, and this wasn't SYFY. This was Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
The actual, remember with the space logo?
No, I know exactly. what
Yeah,
you're talking
man.
about.
And I don't know if that was actually an American thing or if it was just Canadian.
It's Canadian. It was like a
Was it?
yeah,
Canadian?
like
Okay.
a Much Music subsidiary.
Yeah, dude.
type
It was
thing,
just like that, but so I saw The Fly there. I saw Aliens there.
still exists.
No,
don't
well,
think
we don't
so.
have it. That's why, like, I remember I was like, did Sci-Fi rebrand as Sci-Fi? And then
No,
I
yeah.
looked it up and I'm like, okay, they're two completely different places. But it was like they would always play like reboots
Oh
of
wait, are we
Star
thinking
Trek.
of Space?
Space.
Wasn't it called Space, not Sci-Fi? Am I crazy right
No,
now?
they're different. They're two different ones.
Yeah,
there
I'm
was
pretty-
a space.
And there was the Sci-Fi.
Yes.
Oh, okay, no.
Sci-Fi was channel 39.
I'm losing my mind right now. Sorry.
That's not the point. The point.
Why do we talk about it?
Yeah, the point is this movie had a it had a big impact on me when I was a kid, but I didn't fully know the context of how amazing it was until I was probably in my early 20s. I had seen the movie a couple times even in high school. I remember seeing that, but it was always on TV because
Right.
this actually was a movie that was cut down like crazy and put on TV all the time.
Absolutely.
But then when I eventually saw it and I was paying attention to it, like this was when I was like really in my heyday of just like becoming a cinema snob.
Right. You're checking out the classics or
Yeah,
people
but
were
I was
considering
also,
classics.
and not only that, but I was also like, I didn't actually know how much people liked The Fly when I started. I always just thought I was like, that's a great movie.
Sure.
And then it was exciting for me to discover Rotten Tomatoes and be like, oh, they gave The Fly a really good rating.
I think even just like in maybe the past like 5 or 10 years, The Fly's gotten a lot more love. Like
Totally.
there's been like subtle references on like
I think it has critical love, but the thing is, like, I wasn't paying attention to critics
It's
until
overall,
recently.
I would say that comes hand in hand with Cronenberg getting a lot more respect.
Sure. Yeah.
Is-
Like newer filmmakers are taking cues from Cronenberg.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He gets heralded a lot more now than you'd.
Whenever you talk about Cronenberg, though, people think about The Fly, but there's also people who are discovering him now. They think about like Eastern Promises and History of Violence and Cosmopolis and shit like that. But let's just talk about The Fly for a second, though. Like this movie was so fucking impactful for me, and as someone who loves like you guys just listen to me blow the original. I do love the original. I also know that, and I know this could be sacrilegious to a lot of people out there, but I'm sorry, but it's the truth. This is a million times better version, and it's not because it's It's not because it's a newer version.
It's because
the
story.
Absolutely.
It took everything from the original and then it expanded on it and made it more of our time. And by our time, I mean back in the 80s when they were making it.
Right.
But I think it's still it rings more true now than ever, even though this movie is incredibly dated because of the technology.
It makes the characters more relatable, I feel, because it doesn't paint them as one-dimensional as the original one
Absolutely.
does. You don't have your black and white characters in terms of like, this is a good, this is bad, this is good. This movie is very like,
Oh
it's
man,
a
they make you
fairly
teeter on it the whole time.
It's
this
just
is
a
a
far-
fairly like nihilistic movie,
Oh,
really,
totally.
And it's like it question like it at the base of it questions religion and God because of how he's tampering with these sort of things.
Dude, and then they cover rape or not rape. Sorry, abortion.
Yeah, totally. I think
No, they kind of do cover rape because her dude friend colleague is very
Right.
aggressive.
Okay, so let's get this out of the way. That's who I would cancel if I could, but he's not relevant.
fair enough. Yeah, there's the
the homeboy, the fucking
No,
creepy,
that's what I thought too.
creepy ex-boyfriend. Fuck that guy. Hate him in this movie.
It's a good point though. This film does kind of
Obviously,
like
you're supposed to hate him, but it's like to me, he's actually just annoying.
oh yeah,
It's just
And
like
I want to know when this came out if the kind of like language and the way he treats her was like offensive at the time or if it was commonplace.
let me tell you a thing or two about feminism here, Boozy.
just kidding.
All right.
No, I'm not kidding.
I think no,
no, but
the way
he
this
was awful. People were awful back then.
Yeah, I
they
think
still are.
I think some of the dialogue though, it's like the way, like it's so overt that I think in some ways like
it's a commentary.
it was
down.
probably common, but I think Cronenberg was being a bit smarter, where like he was making it so much more noticeable that he was kind of taking a jab
when
at
she
people
like
that.
walks away and he's like, "Do you want to have sex?"
Yeah, like it's
Man,
so,
he's so pushy. He's so gross.
he's so
Like,
insane, and I think that is just like really hitting that idea home. And I mean, we're talking about like humanism, I guess, or like looking at morality in different ways, or even abortions. Like this film is tackling a lot of shit for The
Tackling all of
Fly,
it, yeah.
for being like a body horror, like
Well, it's even
film
how
that has like is taking the time to care about those things and
put
does it
body-
respectfully for the most part.
It definitely put body horror in the forefront. Like this is where like a lot of people, when they think about body horror, they think about The Fly.
But I think it does it does it in the right
That's true, I agree.
in the right way because it gives you characters to care about. If it was just a body horror film,
Exactly.
like how look how we look at Society, because Society had some really cool shit in it, but it's a very long and droning movie until the last half hour.
Yeah, where you start seeing asses for faces.
Yeah, when you're thinking,
great.
okay, that's a body horror movie. Where this does have social commentary, and you're
Man,
looking,
Society. Sorry, so I gotta cut in here. Society has tons of social commentary. It does, but it's not
the
as well
characters
done as
aren't
this.
as well
like
done.
Brian Usna is a genius, but Brian Usna is not David Cronenberg. Like, great, David Cronenberg is a fuck. That's the thing about him, man. Is he's just like such a fucking smart and interesting guy, and he knows it, and that's what makes him kind of a dickhead sometimes.
And it's not like this film is like gross out. Like there's more happening. It's not.
It's
just
pretty fucking gross.
Well,
but it's more
it is
than a gross out
but it's
movie.
not just trying to like shove it in your face constantly. It's using it when it's the right time to like. I guess like maybe the first half of this film at least. There's not really even that much body horror, but then it just gets fucking like balls to the wall. But not in like a. It's not like in the way like gross out comedy is like just
in your
like
face
in your
about
face.
it.
It's not like
no,
that.
it's you're watching somebody's struggles, and as many times as you watch this, I still feel like you are watching with this person as they're de-evolving or evolving, because that's what he thinks.
Dude, he eventually shoves it in your face, and that's what it's amazing when he does that. But
it's
not the theme of the movie.
But it's a quick. It's not a quick. It's a long turn, and
I
that's
agree.
what I like about it.
He knows when to do it, though.
But it starts off as a
That's what you're
gift.
meaning, Kyle.
That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like I see what you're saying, Mitch. Like, yeah, by the end of the film, like it's
That's when they're really shoving it. Like,
but that's in the last like I don't know 10, 15 minutes
it's
of
not
the movie.
it's not the point of the story. It's what's making those scenes more effective.
And I think even just like the general tone and pacing of the film makes everything feel like a good payoff because, well, this is a remake, so like there's a lot of similarities in a way to the one we just talked about.
It's an incredibly well-paced movie.
Yeah, and we have two, I guess, like lovers or whatever. People in a relationship. This one, it's like, okay, maybe there's at some points it's a little cheesy, but at the same time, it's like I actually cared about them and who they were as people together.
Oh, dude, she falls in love with him, and that's the best part about it. It's like, so I need to talk, this is going to lead into something. Can I cut in here?
Of course, yeah.
Why do we like Jeff Goldblum? Why does everybody like Jeff Goldblum?
I think it might be The Fly.
No, I love him too, and I don't know why.
He has the best way I can describe it. He has a built-in charisma that shines through no matter what he's in.
Dude, he's so fucking like weird and gross, and fucking like any other person would run away from him at the beginning of this. But you do not doubt Gina Davis for a second because he does have this like allure to him.
Yeah,
and because like he's also comes off as arrogant. He does a lot of like, well, I'm sorry you didn't understand that, but I'll explain. So like he does like,
he
but not
have the air.
he does. But the thing is, she's constantly intrigued by him, and you understand why, and you buy it. And I think, he does the same thing in Jurassic Park.
I want to say that he gives off, especially in this movie, is a lot of almost serial killer vibes. He comes
a little
in
bit, yeah.
dressed all in black. He's like Ted Bundy in this movie.
I have. Okay, I got to pull up one of my notes. I haven't been looking at my notes here, but I need to find this one because that makes me lose my mind laughing. Because Courtney and I were talking about it, we were like, this is 100% what have happened with Ted Bundy. Like he drags her to he gets her to go to a back alley.
Right.
He's at a club trying to they're just talking, and then they're at a party or something like that.
You want to come back to my place?
Yeah, no, he doesn't say that. He says, well, you should come back to my lab. Like imagine going to Hudson's and being like, "Hey, baby, you want to come back to my lab?"
That is too funny.
Honestly,
when it gets to that point, it's like,
dude, it's so great. And then she's following him, and it's like, what's she doing? She's gonna get murdered.
Well,
she walks into this place. There's two pods.
That's what news reporting is. That's true journalism. What she did right there.
There you go.
She
was going in for the story.
Yeah, it was the story.
had a big scoop on her hands.
Yeah. I want pictures of Spider-Man.
Everyone's.
But weird enough, I have always said that this movie to me is my favorite Spider-Man movie that isn't Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because it's a Spider-Man origin story. But
Basically,
like
yeah.
the most twisted
it
one.
Actually,
is,
I
and that's
saw-
why it's so fucking good, man.
One of the reviews I saw on Letterboxd was just saying, "Oh yeah, Spider-Man got off easy."
Yeah, 100%. Think about like this is actually more realistic, obviously.
Oh, totally.
Like,
I don't know. It's that whole. It's pacing, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. Like, this film is perfectly paced, and it kept me on the edge of my seat, in maybe the same way the original did for you. I felt like the 135
fucking asshole.
the 135 minute length of the first one, I felt every minute of that. Sorry, an hour and a half is what I meant. Hour and 35 minute. This one is exactly an hour and 35 minutes.
Okay,
they're
so
both the same length, and this one, oh my god,
I'll take that, but I'll raise you.
hit me with it.
So in the original they're using kittens, and in this one he's got fucking baboons. Tell me how.
It's just different, man. Something to do with AIDS. I don't know.
This was the first time where I ever questioned the fact that he just had baboons, and it seemed like the baboon really cared about him.
Apparently
but he
he's-
didn't care
Because
about
he's a wacky scientist. Of course he has
apparently,
baboons.
apparently Jeff Goldblum. Like I found this out on the commentary that because I watched the movie twice, and that would have been like my 8th and 9th time seeing this. I think,
Right.
but like in the commentary, he's talking about Cronenberg was like baboons are impossible to train. Like you can't train them. And apparently that baboon just hit it off with Jeff Goldblum.
No way.
And it would only listen to Jeff Goldblum. I'm like, it's because he's the most fuckable, ugly guy on earth.
He has that animal attraction to him.
No,
but
absolutely.
But
He's
also,
Tarzan.
You don't even know why you like him, but you do.
that's one part of the movie that bothers me that isn't supposed to. Is I'm very afraid of chimps and monkeys.
Yeah.
and just the fact that he's coddling it so close
Man,
to
that thing
his
could
face.
fucking murder him so easily.
If that
I
thing
didn't think of that
turned
for a
and
second.
murder
just
him dead.
That's
it
really
would just
funny.
rip his jaw off like at the end. Like it would just
Right, right.
And the reason you think pacing is good, this is I'm kind of vibing with you on this. I like to consider it that it takes you in stages because it doesn't show you his full transformation
No.
ever. It's not stages are like incidents.
Yeah.
So every time you're going over there, you're seeing a different part of him, and then when she leaves, she's dealing with the grief and all the issues in there, plus dealing with her own personal issues. So it makes it more interesting. Is both characters are building towards like basically like a train derailment at
Right,
the
yeah,
end,
yeah.
like connecting with each other.
There's some like the really opposites attracting in different ways.
Yeah.
Like as like maybe the beginning is just like, I don't know, average characters having a relationship, but then by the end of the film they're completely different viewpoints, they're completely different emotional states. There's a lot of different things happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think obviously you could look at, we were talking about like perhaps by the end of it he has almost no compassion for anyone but himself, being very narcissistic. I think that's absolutely correct. But it's cool because you can kind of see that in himself throughout the film.
I love that he starts buzzing towards the end.
Oh,
He'll
yeah,
randomly
that
just
shit was great.
Yeah, and there's so many cool like character traits that Goldblum, and I'm not even sure if Cronenberg incorporated this like on his own or if this was a Goldblum thing, but like how Goldblum's wearing I love like because here's an example like. I love this movie. Wouldn't change a thing about it. But there's some fucking hilarious lines in it.
Oh, there's
and
great
one
lines.
of them is about him how he wears the same pair of clothes every single day,
Like Einstein?
and like Einstein.
like
And then he's like, because
don't have to use brain.
basically it gives him more time during the day to think about science things.
He's that smart.
He's such a fucking nerd.
Cheeseburger?
Oh, I have like just a bunch of random things written down. Do you mind if I go through some of them?
Hit him. I got some. I'll come back with some too.
Okay, yeah, you hit me back in front of this. Noticed in the background, I love that Brundlefly, as he's getting more and more into sweets, he really likes Captain Crunch. I saw like 5 or 6 Captain Crunch just sprinkled everywhere.
Shit cuts up the top of your mouth.
That's also very interesting watching that, is every time you go back to his apartment, there's more sweets there, and it's
I saw
more
like an
disheveled.
empty like Pepsi container.
There was like donut boxes and stuff.
A lot of donuts.
Okay, what's the bad guy's name? He's not even the guy with the gun.
the rapey boyfriend,
The
the
guy with the
rapey
gun.
ex-boyfriend.
I can't say he's a complete bad guy because he actually tries to save her at the end.
Stathis Borans.
Yeah, he's a cunt.
Okay. At
That guy.
I don't like him.
At one part in the movie, when he shows up at Brundlefly's house at the end, he builds that entire gun inside Brundlefly's place.
Right.
And I was watching it, and you're so intrigued in him building this gun, and then you
like,
realize,
wait a minute.
Yeah, I was like, why is he already in there? What if the Brundlefly's on
That's
the other
funny.
side of the fucking door? You dumbass.
That's pretty funny.
There's definitely something oddly terrifying about a giant fly that makes sounds like a pig. because it was
true.
making weird fucking sounds.
But that also happens in the original Fly, where he's crying. He's going like,
I guess so.
Okay, I have 2 more points, and then you guys can cover
I was
them.
like,
Yeah.
fuck, we cry the same way.
I can't be the only one curious to see if he did build that ultimate family, what would look like.
Oh man.
He was talking about merging them all. I was kind of like, what would that look like?
Could be interesting.
Maybe she should have let him do it.
Come on.
And then the last part I have to say is when Brundlefly is crawling on the floor after merging with the door, I know you're supposed to feel bad for him.
Yeah.
But it's just all the bad shit he did is so
Yeah.
recent in my mind. It's like, fucking blow him out. Like, get him out of here.
Dude, that shit happens in The Fly 2. It's so bad in The Fly 2, like with shit merging with doors and stuff. And like you can see that it's a guy in a bunch of prosthetics, but he's dragging across the floor. Like
Nice.
the I just got to get out of the way. The practical effects in The Fly 2 are actually great.
That's one of the
But
only
they're
good
no,
parts of it.
but also they're not even. They're less than a quarter. They're like an eighth of how good the practical effects is in this one that we're talking about. So
There's
like
something
that shows how good this movie is for that.
There's something special about the practical effects in this too. Like not only are they great and they're like really effective, but just like I don't know, like the art direction of them and the way they look is just like specifically
I think
creepy. Like
a lot of that has to be Cronenberg because
I think so,
he's
too.
always just known how to get to people. But also like that was some of the cool things I learned from the director's commentary was where he was talking about how he always thought it was goofy that the telepods in the original looked kind of like telephone booths.
Okay.
And he's like, so he wanted to he's such a fucking nerd about his motorcycle that he would be like, like, do you know how David Cronenberg kind of talks like this? And
okay.
like that's actually I was riding motorcycles at the time, and I was riding a 67 Honda hatchback. Like he goes on about like every single thing.
Yeah, it's
hatchback.
like
Sorry.
A Honda.
No, but
Kawasaki.
Kawasaki with the extended fender. Like that's. But he goes off about like every single like perk that his fucking motorcycle has. It's like, hey, shut up, guy. Like,
Oh, man.
let me know when you know what a vagina sounds like. Jesus.
He actually knows what it looks like because he's the gynecologist in this film.
Oh, it's true. Yes, it's very true. Very true. But I love how he modeled the telepods after like the engine of his motorcycle.
That's sick.
But also, did you guys know that Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum were during this? Like,
Oh, no.
before they were poking.
Didn't know that. Didn't know they were. Didn't know
They were playing
poking.
tag, were they?
Yeah, I was making hand motions and it was tag.
Poking like motions.
Yeah.
But-
Also, Gina Davis, Mom and Stuart Little 1 through 3.
Are you fucking kidding me?
three?
That's what you know her from? Beetlejuice?
Gina Davis from Stuart Little.
Yeah,
Guys,
3 is where it really picks up.
you'd think that after 2 they had no steam left, but nah.
Man, they're steamy in this movie, though. I have to say,
They are. Well,
and you see Goldblum's butt.
That was one of the cool things too that he talks about on the commentary.
Talking about his butt.
But
No, on the
my cheeks
commentary
were out.
Actually,
on the-
those were actually my real cheeks in that scene.
On the commentary is that they cast Jeff Goldblum, but then they were trying to find a woman to play that role, and he had suggested Gina Davis, who was his girlfriend at the
Oh,
time.
I see, okay.
And they like Cronenberg had to he felt like he needed to make them have like undo all their chemistry so that they could rebuild it again.
For the film.
And I think they do a pretty good job of that, except for I will never get over the fact that she goes to that place in the first place. Like it is. I
Yeah.
know we've already talked about it. It's fucking stupid.
It is stupid, but I don't know. Whatever. Like,
She's going for the scoop. She's going.
but
for
do
the
you think
scoop.
it's more creepy or less creepy that she's the one that drives there?
It's more. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
She has some
there's something
nefarious
about
reasons.
that.
She has some nefarious
Can I
reasons.
mention that for obviously they had a stunt double for Jeff Goldblum doing a lot of acrobats.
Yeah.
Make them quicker cuts, please.
Oh, man.
He's
I know.
flipping around the
That's
whole
true.
fucking ceiling, and I'm like, this is not even close to
Dude.
Jeff Goldblum.
Oh,
They're
dude.
really taking their time with those
If
shots.
you
That's true.
if you guys like that shit, watch Bad Boys for Life because it is
Okay.
unreal watching an Asian guy do all of Will Smith's scenes. Like that actually there are times in that movie where I was like, what the fuck? They didn't even try to hide that wasn't Will Smith. But sorry, we're not talking about Bad Boys 3 here.
No,
Damn,
but
I want to hear more
that's
about
why one of my
BB3.
only complaints, and you can't go like, oh well, that's how they did it at the time.
No.
Just do quicker cut. This
Yeah.
Also, though,
I don't need a Halloween length length tracking
right.
shot of this dude.
Here's the thing, though, is also I gave you my Blu-ray copy of that.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing is you're going to notice the strings. Man, the strings in Fly 2 are unbelievable. It's like they are just like they aren't even they're just ropes. Like that you can just see.
You know
everywhere.
what? I'm fine with seeing a little bit of string. That's totally fine. But long-term shots of stunt doubles, it's hard to pass.
It's tough. Yeah.
Both of those things are going to harm your film in the end, like in the overall end. But the thing is, like, it's cool that they're at least trying things to make things cool. So that's why I'm okay with it. But the thing is, like, where was I getting with this?
I suppose the more I think about that like gymnastics scene, it is kind of weird just because the rest of the film is like meticulous with its effects and the way it presents them, but it's still kind of funny.
It's true.
The one thing I was thinking of, this has a very famous horror line in it.
Yes, it does.
Which just kind of got me feeling really good as it was said.
Be afraid.
Be very afraid.
Yes.
That's it, and it's definitely one of those things where did that come from? Like everybody quotes it, no one knows where it comes from.
As far as I know, this is the film.
It did. No, I'm actually serious. It did come from this, but people quote it all the time and don't know where it came from.
And like The Fly is definitely a well-known film, but you would almost think it'd be something more well-known.
Also, it's kind of fringe on it.
Dude, okay, fair enough.
So
that makes sense. And you'd think it would come from like I don't know, Friday the 13th or something.
A lot
Land
of
the Dead. Right.
A lot of people haven't seen this movie yet, and that's why like they have. This is some gold that you have to go to.
This is Goldblum,
but it is. And but last couple things I want to say before we close out here is that like last year for Valentine's Day, I showed Courtney The Fly for the first time. Like that's my idea of a Valentine's Day.
So romantic,
beautiful man.
No, but it's a romance. I think
there's actually some good romance in here. I was connected to these two. I need to get this across.
You could definitely tell they had fucked before.
That's what I'm saying, man. I think it's a romantic movie. I think it starts off actually kind of creepy and a little bit nefarious, and then by the end of it, it's like you're actually like it's tragic, and she ends up pregnant with him, and like that's where you get the Fly too. But like there's so many crazy heavy themes throughout this movie that people don't talk about enough, and I know like this is what we should have spent the brunt of the conversation talking about if we weren't idiots, but we're not going to talk about this bunch because we're also idiots. But there's abortion plays a heavy role in this, and also so does like watching someone that you love become terminally ill. Like that's a huge theme in this movie, like watching someone deteriorate. And you could also look at this movie as an allegory for a toxic relationship. Like there's so many different ways that you could spin this movie, and all of them, you could take those out and just watch it as a movie, and it's still just so effective.
And I think it's because the script is solid. Like there's the basic elements of the film that are there are just done well, and because of that, you're able to connect with these characters in a great way. And you're also able to kind of take care for the subtext in a way. Like
agreed.
There is a lot of subtext here, and it's not necessarily in your face, but if you're looking for that, it's done very tastefully.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Because even for 1986 in the States, like having a film like a major film feature abortion, that's actually pretty ballsy.
It is super ballsy, and also like one of the like famous lines in this movie also is insects don't have politics.
Right.
So it's like
I loved that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was such a subtle nod that all of a sudden his face is going to explode and there's a giant fucking bug.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. So there's not enough good things that we could say about this movie. I don't think
praise.
I think if we can talk about like negatives, like my only negative is I don't fucking like that dude who plays her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah,
and
it's
I know
a little too much for you.
That's the point. That's the point in the movie. Like
he
his
just
character
nails it out of the park with how much you hate him.
He's such a dickhead.
He's such a punchable person.
Well, he's
really like Robert Downey Jr.
Fuck off. I actually just think that the movie would be better without him. Actually, like
without the character in general.
That's like one of the things that separates this from a masterpiece to me.
It is kind of weird, right?
I think it's close to a masterpiece.
There's times like off the bat he's a total asshole, and then he kind of does a good thing, but then he becomes even more of an asshole, and even when he is kind of like being heroic or maybe doing a positive thing, you just can't help but hate the guy.
Exactly. You don't start feeling for him until he's actually deteriorating.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, this would suck for anybody.
Yeah.
So, do you guys know about the deleted scene that fills in a part of this movie?
No.
No.
Do you ever wonder where the monkey goes?
Yes.
Okay, there is a deleted scene. You can actually, I believe you can watch it on any of the, you probably YouTube it. There's a scene where the baboon and a cat, he ends up putting them together, and it makes this fucked up thing, and he has to end up beating it to death with like a baseball bat or something.
Oh man,
What?
I think that
But
is sick.
they took it out because it made Jeff Goldblum's character so hateable at that point.
It's true.
He he was irredeemable before they could finish up that.
That's such
a
a
good
cool
point.
touch, though. That's such a
and
cool
they end
touch.
up kind of doing that in 2. That's why there's a scene in there that's kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Oh, dude, with the dog.
Yeah.
It's the worst. That is like one of the most painful. There's a fucking the cutest golden retriever you can imagine. Just
I'm not
the
ready for
good,
that.
the goodest boy walking into this fucking telepod, and then he comes out, and they keep him alive, and he's just a blob going like. "Grrr."
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's like you
Fuck
were
all you
watching it.
Yeah, I forgot this is a podcast. I can't do hand motions, and people will
It's
understand.
tough. It's tough.
But yeah, big thumbs up.
Yeah.
Across the table.
Absolutely. I think this exceeded my kind of memory of it. I really loved it.
I love that right off the bat since you've been here. It's just everything's been going good for you. So I just
Yeah.
can't wait to show you some real shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's
It's going too well for you.
I'm ready to go right into the mud.
Like that's the thing is if the fly
I'm gonna be a bitch in the dirt.
if the original fly is the worst thing you've seen because of the show, you are in for a fucking treat.
It's
Bud.
probably Black Christmas at this point, but
Oh yeah, true. All right, well, yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. This has been another episode of the Terror Table. We will be back next week where we'll be talking about Boozy's Picks, which is the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and Body Snatchers from 1993. So check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Give us a review on iTunes if you want to, and we'll see you guys next week on the Terror Table.
Hello, everybody. If you've stuck around till the end, then you know it's time for Question of the Week. Hoping to get a couple responses this week. Thank you for everyone who has consistently been doing it, and thanks for anyone who's did it once. Anyway, Question of the Week this week is, if you were put in a telepod and something was in the other one, what would you like to be merged with?